Chapter 536. Scoundrel. Get lost. After all, he had speculated that Nangong Mili's early awakening was related to him nourishing her nurturing elixir with the yin-yang energies. If she recovered too quickly, it might affect the effectiveness of the Lockhart Gu. Now that she had become the mother of his child, Lu Chongqing naturally had to put on a good show and gain her approval. He also wanted Nangong Mili to recover sooner. Otherwise, having injuries all the time wouldn't be good for the child in her belly. Shwa! Nangong Mili's cheeks were flushed like sunset clouds, her beautiful eyes tightly shut, allowing Lu Chongqing to do as he pleased. But at that moment, under Lu Changsheng's gentle call of Mili, her jade-like face slightly stiffened, and her heart trembled. Lu Chongsheng calling her name so tenderly made her, seemingly lost in the clouds, look somewhat bewildered. How many years had it been? Apart from her master who always called her Little Mili, no one else had addressed her with such intimacy ever since. Of course, bootlickers don't count. Now, being softly called by Lu Chongqing in such a tender voice, she felt incredibly close to Lu Chongqing in her bewilderment. You dog of a man, don't call me like that. Nangong Mili quickly suppressed her tumultuous thoughts, opened her hazy beautiful eyes. Her cheeks reddened with embarrassment and anger, and she said angrily, All right. Lu Chongqing wasn't annoyed. He knew the Lockhart Gu was already having a certain effect on Nangong Mili. He just needed to maintain the right level, progress gradually, and naturally he would be able to melt Nangong Mili's heart. After speaking, he looked at Nangong Mili's beautifully angry cheeks, leaned in close, and captured her tender and dewy lips. Nangong Mili, with her lips captured by Lu Chongqing, had a bewildered look in her eyes, a difficult-to-suppress throbbing arising in her heart. As the invasion to her mouth startled her, Nangong Mili suddenly reacted, immediately struggling to push Lu Chongqing away. Her eyes filled with resentment as she angrily said, You dog of a man, don't touch me. Get out once the dual cultivation is done. All right. I've just transferred in the origin source and am a bit weak. Mili, you go ahead and refine this origin source first. Lu Chongqing quietly held Nangong Mili's graceful body in his arms, whispered in her ear on the side of her cheek. This voice full of doting tenderness, the intimate address, and his hot breath in her sensitive ear made her whole body go limp, her body trembling uncontrollably, her heart throbbing, with an indescribable meaning. Feeling the burning warmth of the man's body temperature tight against her skin, Nangong Mili even felt that she and Lu Chongqing were as close as a couple deep in love. Her gorgeous cheeks were cold and taut, her eyes flashing with embarrassment and anger, wanting to continue to berate Lu Chongqing, to tell him to go away. But the next moment, the yin-yang energies swam towards her chi ocean core like little fish. She could sense that these little yin-yang fish were very mysterious, as if they were implicitly in accordance with some natural law of the universe. Nangong Mili was astonished, not expecting Lu Chongqing to actually offer her such an origin source for healing. With a slight throbbing in her heart, she opened up her chi ocean core, and saw that, as soon as the yin-yang energies entered the chi ocean core, they began to circle around her true elixir. Strands of mysterious Tao rhythm spilled, slowly nurturing her true elixir. Nangong Mili quietly experienced the Tao rhythm within. But this Tao rhythm was very mysterious. Even she could not comprehend it all at once. She only knew that this yin-yang origin source was obviously beneficial to her true elixir. In her heart, she was even more amazed that Lu Chongqing would gift her such an origin source to nurture her true elixir. For a long time, the yin-yang energies were completely consumed. Nangong Mili could clearly sense that her true elixir had significantly recovered. She estimated that she would need only 4 or 5 more sessions to recover 70 to 80% of her strength. But she knew that drawing upon such origin source would certainly consume a great deal of Lu Changsheng's energy. Thus, she felt embarrassed and couldn't bring herself to make such a request. Seeing that Lu Chongqing was still holding her, and even beginning to get restless with his hands, Nangong Mili's face was covered with frost as she said coldly, Now that we're done dual cultivating, get lost and stay away from me. Let me hold you a little longer, Lu Chongsheng murmured softly. Scumbag man. Get the hell away from me. The chills in Nangong Mili's heart surged under Lu Changsheng's tone, and she felt goosebumps all over, almost unbearable. Mana surged through her body, and she pushed Lu Changsheng away. Then, her body was enveloped in the glow of dawn, as she customarily entered the spiritual pool to cleanse her jade-like body. Damn it! It seems it's not going to be easy to conquer her. Lu Changsheng stood up, dusted himself off, put on his clothes, and didn't seem to mind Nangong Mili's actions. He just took it as letting her vent her anger. After all, she hadn't hit him too hard. Not far away, Ling Zixiao and Meng Xiaochan exchanged glances, confused. They didn't understand what was going on with Lu Changsheng today. Was he on the wrong medication or what? Why had his temperament suddenly changed so drastically? They knew how Lu Changsheng had treated Nangong Mili before. They had seen it all with their own eyes. But in the next moment, Ling Zixiao had a realization. She figured that Lu Changsheng had deliberately been harsh to Nangong Mili before. Now that the Lockhart goo was showing some effect, he had started with a gentle approach. She had to admit to herself that Lu Changsheng's gentle tactics were indeed hard to resist. Back when she was with Lu Changsheng, his sweet talk had left her weak and her heart fluttering. In the spiritual pool, Nangong Mili's palm gently caressed her lower abdomen. The more she thought about it, the more irritable she felt that Lu Changsheng was aware of her pregnancy. If this damned man kept pestering her because of the child, coming after the child every day, what would she do? Humph. This is Nangong Mili's child. What does it have to do with him? If he dares to disturb me and my child, I'll make sure he regrets it. Nangong Mili's slender eyebrows raised. Her phoenix eyes shone with a cold brilliance. So what if Lu Changsheng knew? Could he possibly disturb her and take away the child? The fact that she hadn't sought him out to trouble him and suppressed him in the goo pit was already an act of great kindness. Would he dare to fight with her over the child? However, thinking about Lu Changsheng's recent change of attitude, Nangong Mili felt that he wasn't so bad after all. At least he seemed quite responsible. Upon discovering the child, his demeanor had completely shifted 360 degrees. He was not an unfeeling person. But the next moment, Nangong Mili also remembered how Lu Changsheng had previously humiliated and trampled on her. Now that there was a child, his attitude had changed. Wasn't she less important to him than a child? His recent gentleness towards her, was it all because of the child, and not for her? Damned man! Huh? What am I thinking about? Who cares about his attitude towards me? Let him do whatever he wants. The humiliation he had inflicted on her before, even if he tries to ingratiate himself with her now, she won't let it go so easily. Nangong Mili's bewitching and radiant cheeks were cold as frost. Her slender phoenix eyes filled with clarity. Chapter 537. Golden Core Charm. Departure. _1 In the blink of an eye, more than half a month had passed. During these days, Lu Changsheng did a good deed every day, healing Nangong Mili's injuries. Through the system panel, seeing that the child was always there, he also set his mind at ease. He knew that this female demon head was willing to leave the child behind. This made him feel increasingly positive about Nangong Mili. However, Nangong Mili's attitude toward Lu Changsheng remained cold and harsh, without a trace of warmth. She would often call him a dog of a man, telling him to beat it, sometimes even lashing out physically. Ling Zixiao and Meng Xiaochan were both astounded that Lu Changsheng could face such treatment without a hint of annoyance. Instead, he always had a warm and smiling face. This made them both somewhat doubt whether Lu Changsheng had some particular fetish. On this day, the yin-yang energies of Lu Changsheng's Tao Foundation had recovered. The speed of recovery for the yin-yang energies was related to his condition. In a place where the spiritual energy was thin, having to dual cultivate every day to heal, the recovery rate of the yin-yang energies was naturally much slower. But Nangong Mili's injuries were gradually healing, and her strength was returning. The dual cultivation was no longer one-sided healing. During the dual cultivation, Lu Changsheng also gained many benefits. Moreover, because of the yin-yang energies, he swallowed and refined Nangong Mili's profound yin jade liquid. This made the effects of their dual cultivation very good. It was much better than when he cultivated with Lu Miaoge or Ling Zixiao, but it was still inferior to Xiao Xia. Lu Chongqing guessed that this should be an additional effect of his Tao foundation, because the yin-yang energies merged with Nangong Mili's spiritual body origin. Her profound yin-charm body granted him an extra bonus. In the future, once Ling Zixiao's body has recovered, and he integrates more of the Dragon Roar origin, the effect would presumably be excellent. After the dual cultivation ended, Lu Chongqing transferred the scorching hot yin-yang energies to Nangong Mili. Nangong Mili's beautiful eyes were tightly closed, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, as she channeled the yin-yang energies to nurture her true elixir. This, after the true elixir was nurtured by the yin-yang energies, Nangong Mili suddenly discovered that the surface of her true elixir was now marked with a hint of golden pattern. This bit of golden pattern was almost imperceptible. But as the owner, she was acutely aware of it. And she realized what it was. Golden core charm. Nangong Mili's radiant and enchanting face paused, her heart like tumultuous waves crashing within. The origin source Lu Chongqing had transferred to her had actually nurtured a speck of golden core charm on her true elixir. Although it was just a speck, barely noticeable, if it continued like this, day after day, did it not mean that one day, her fourth-grade true elixir might transform into a superior gold core? Superior gold core. Nangong Mili was incredibly shocked. She was able to attain a fourth-grade true elixir partly due to her profound yin-charm body and also because she had rather good fortune. But now, her spiritual root and profound yin-charm body were almost of no help in breaking through to the nascent soul stage. Without great fortune, even with a fourth-grade true elixir, progressing to nascent soul would be immensely difficult, nearly hopeless. Yet at this moment, this speck of golden core charm gave her hope of advancing to the nascent soul. If her true elixir could transform into a superior gold core, then she would have a 20 to 30% certainty of ascending to the nascent soul. Though a 20 to 30% chance might seem low, for advancing from core formation to nascent soul, this chance was already exceptionally high. Involuntarily, Nangong Mili glanced at Lu Chongqing. She found that she was becoming increasingly pleased with what she saw in him. And she didn't even know when she had started no longer resisting the idea of dual cultivation and close contact with him. Could it be that I've fallen for this dog of a man? Nangong Mili's heart trembled lightly, her inner turmoil peaking, a wave of unprecedented panic flooding her. Although she admitted that Lu Chongqing was exceedingly handsome and his temperament was ethereal, which she found quite satisfying, how could Nangong Mili, who was above such vulgarity, fall for someone like that? Moreover, in the past days, Lu Chongqing had played with her in every way possible, humiliating and trampling upon her. She had wanted nothing more than to slash him thousands of times, to kill him and be done with it. How could she inexplicably start liking this dog of a man? Dog of a man, get lost from my sight. Seeing Lu Chongqing looking at her with tender eyes, Nangong Mili's eyes, misty as smoke, flitted with a trace of panic. She instantly furrowed her brows, mana surged within her, and she pushed Lu Chongqing away. But the icy and sharp tone carried a hint of softness and charm. Sigh women. The moment the skirt is lifted, they turn their faces and become unrecognizable. Lu Chongqing shook his head and sighed. He didn't take Nangong Mili's attitude to heart. After all, they had only been together for a little over a month. He didn't believe that, after everything that had happened, Nangong Mili would be hopelessly in love with him. If he had to be honest, were it not for the Lockhart Gu, Lu Chongqing felt that given Nangong Mili's character, she would have truly attacked him long ago, instead of merely cursing and scolding him as she did now. However, in his eyes, her attitude toward him had already improved a lot over time. At least her behavior toward him was no longer so resistant. In a moment of passion, she would even be somewhat cooperative. Nangong Mili, upon hearing Lu Chongqing speak in such a manner, glared at him with deadly intent in her eyes. Her entire being radiated the commanding aura of a nascent soul immortal. Only, her appearance was too enchanting and alluring, and at the moment, still flushed with the afterglow, she appeared not at all imposing in the eyes of Lu Chongqing. His only thought was to conquer, possess, ravage, dominate, and train her. Nevertheless, the profound and ocean-deep auras made Lu Chongqing feel weighed down, as if a great mountain were pressing down upon him. Is this the strength of a nascent soul immortal? Merely the aura is so domineering. Chapter 538. Golden Core Charm. Departure. Lu Chongqing was astonished by the terrifying strength of Nangong Meili. One must know, her injuries have not yet fully healed, and her power is far from recovered. If it were her heyday, she probably wouldn't need to lift a finger. Just the imposing aura of her core formation would have been enough to suppress him. The difference in strength between foundation establishment and core formation is even greater than that between chi refinement and foundation establishment. No wonder the effect of the profound origin bead is enough to make a peak chi refinement cultivator comparable to foundation establishment, but it only makes a peak foundation establishment cultivator comparable to a false core. There is an insurmountable chasm between a false elixir and a true elixir. Lu Chongqing took a deep breath, ignored this aura, and returned to sit and chat with Ling Zixiao at one side. Ling Zixiao and Meng Xiaochan were already used to the dynamic between Lu Chongqing and Nangong Meili. After all, the two had been bickering non-stop for some time. However, Ling Zixiao still felt quite upset by the situation. She thought, "My lord performs dual cultivation to heal you, and you still put on such an attitude. Nascent Soul Immortal is really so great." Huh. But since Lu Chongqing didn't say anything, she couldn't say much either. Besides, Nangong Meili would not seriously hurt Lu Chongqing, but the same might not apply to her. Time ticked by bit by bit. These days, Nangong Meili was becoming increasingly anxious in her heart. She felt she might truly have fallen for Lu Chongqing. It wasn't just that Lu Chongqing was becoming more and more pleasing to the eye. Deep down, she actually wanted to draw closer to him. When close to him, she felt a sense of peace and comfort like never before. She thought if she could keep this up, it would be quite nice. These inexplicable thoughts spread through her mind, making Nangong Meili extremely panicked. What's going on? Nangong Meili couldn't help but wonder if she had been affected by some bewitching technique or her mental spirit was influenced. Or if Lu Chongqing had used some technique on her during their dual cultivation. Otherwise, why would she feel like this? She was very clear about her own character. She was definitely not someone who fell for others so easily. Even if she were to take a fancy to someone, it couldn't possibly be like this. Night fell. This day, after the dual cultivation ended, Nangong Meili's mind was full of chaotic thoughts, and her restless heart couldn't calm down. She felt she had been deeply affected by Lu Chongqing. No, I can't go on like this. Nangong Meili took a deep breath, suppressing the complexity and turmoil of her emotions. She looked towards Meng Xiaochan at one side. She decided to take Meng Xiaochan and leave. She felt she could no longer be with Lu Chongqing. The inexplicable fondness and heart palpitations she felt towards Lu Chongqing filled her with immense fear. She, Nangong Meili, even if she were to like a man, wouldn't be so sentimental and lose herself for him. "Xiaochan, let's go." Nangong Meili transmitted her voice to Meng Xiaochan. "Ah, master, where to?" Meng Xiaochan opened her eyes wide in surprise upon hearing this. "Now that your master has recovered, we can prepare to leave," Nangong Meili declared. Today, Lu Chongqing used the yin-yang energies to nurture her true elixir, which had allowed her strength to recover by about 3 or 4/10. Though she had only regained 3 or 4/10 of her strength, as long as she didn't encounter someone like Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person, she still had a chance to escape. So much time had passed, and Yun Jianfeng couldn't possibly have stayed outside indefinitely. Once back at the border, people from the Five Poisons cult would surely come to her aid. This? Upon hearing these words, Meng Xiaocan's teeth nibbled on her lips, her delicate face showing struggle. During this time, she had already made up her mind. She planned to stay by Lu Changsheng's side for the rest of her life. Otherwise, there was no way she could repay the immense favor Lu Chongqing had done in curing her master. But now, her master was planning to take her away. What's wrong? Nangong Meili saw Meng Xiaochan looking troubled and furrowed her brows. Master, unable to repay the kindness Lu Lang has shown, Xiaochan had made up her mind to stay by his side. Please grant this wish, Meng Xiaochan said with her lips lightly bitten. What? Upon hearing this, Nan Gongmili, seeing the state of her disciple, was filled with a surge of shock and anger, and even a hint of horror. There's a saying that no one knows a daughter better than her mother. Having spent so many years together in a relationship akin to mother and daughter, Nan Gongmili knew her disciple's personality very well. Normally whimsical, but at her core, she had the heart of the demon path, showing disdain for men. Yet now, when she was planning to take her back, her disciple was expressing a desire to accompany Lu Chongqing. What did this mean? Abandoning the great Tao. It should be known that though this mission had ended in failure, no blame could be placed on her and her disciple. The main issue lay with the defeat of the Five Poisons cult and the Heavenly Corpse sect at the hands of Li Duanquan. As such, on the return trip, according to their contributions and merits, she could apply for the heart-eating goo for Meng Xiaochan. With the heart-eating goo, Meng Xiaoquan's myriad poisons devouring heart technique could reach great success. There was hope for her core formation in the future, but at this moment, Meng Xiaochan was giving up going back, ready to stay by Lu Changsheng's side. This left Nan Gongmili feeling incredibly angry and horrified. Thinking about her own inexplicable emotions and affection for Lu Chongqing, and now seeing her disciple's feelings for Lu Chongqing even stronger than her own, as if bewitched. At this moment, Nan Gongmili was almost certain something was wrong with her. Her narrow and captivating eyes turned towards Lu Chongqing, a trace of murderous intent flickering within. She pondered whether to kill Lu Chongqing to eliminate future troubles. Considering how she felt at the moment and Meng Xiaoquan's state, it was truly making her panic. But as soon as the thought arose, her heart started racing uncontrollably. The inner turmoil caused a faint pain, signaling she couldn't do it. Unbidden, memories of the past days, Lu Changsheng's tenderness, smiles, and affection flooded her mind, dissipating her intent to kill. But the more she felt this way, the more panicked and horrified Nan Gongmili became, knowing that something was seriously wrong with her. Chapter 539. Golden Core Charm. Departure. Go! Nan Gongmili immediately suppressed her emotions, took on her master's authority, and planned to take Meng Xiaochan away with her. Are you planning to leave? Lu Chongsheng opened his eyes and looked toward Nan Gongmili, who was pulling Meng Xiaochan along. He could tell Nan Gongmili was intending to leave. Moreover, he faintly felt that the emotional bond between Nan Gongmili and himself was wavering. It meant that Nan Gongmili was struggling to break free from the influence of the Lockhart Goo. It seems, the Lockhart Goo still struggles to fully bind a nascent soul immortal. Lu Chongqing sighed slightly in his heart. He knew the Lockhart Goo was yet unable to silently and subtly affect Nan Gongmili. He looked at Nan Gongmili and Meng Xiaochan, saying, Mili, Xiaochan, are you preparing to leave? Nan Gongmili trembled at his words. Her expression was majestic and enchantingly beautiful as she looked at Lu Chongqing. Her phoenix eyes slightly narrowed, and she said indifferently, What, do you intend to stop me? With her words, an imposing aura began to rise around her. Although she had made a heart demon oath not to harm Lu Chongqing, if Lu Chongqing dared to stop her, even at the risk of heart demon backlash, she would strike him down. How much of your strength has recovered? Lu Chongqing watched Nan Gongmili, quietly thoughtful, and then asked. He knew that he couldn't stop Nan Gongmili from leaving. Moreover, he had no intention of taking Nan Gongmili back home. It wasn't realistic, nor did he have the conditions to do so. However, Nan Gongmili and Meng Xiaochan were currently wanted and pursued by the Heavenly Sword sect. If their strength wasn't sufficient, trying to return to the Jin Kingdom could be very dangerous. 30%. Nan Gongmili's voice was calm and indifferent. It lacked the usual seductive charm, and also the cold sharpness of frost. 30%? Lu Chongqing, hearing this, knew that with this level of strength, as long as she didn't encounter a nascent soul immortal, she wouldn't have much of a problem. Although he had thoughts of continuing to heal Nan Gongmili, by the looks of it, Nan Gongmili didn't seem to want to continue this way. Regarding this, Lu Chongqing wouldn't force her, and he couldn't force her either. Moreover, He himself was in a hurry to return home. From here back to Qingzhou Mountain, the journey would still take 2 to 3 months. To ensure Nangong Mili's complete recovery, he estimated that it would require staying here for several more months, or even a year and a half. By that time, his family would definitely be worried about him. After some thought, Lu Changsheng's mana surged within him. A gray bead shrouded in mist appeared in his hand. It was the Misty Sky bead. Although Nangong Mili had recovered 30% of her strength, her body possessed the profound and alluring body, her charm unrivaled. Even if she were to change her appearance, she would still attract attention. The disguise offered by the Misty Sky bead, impenetrable even to nascent soul immortals, could help Nangong Mili change her appearance and conceal her magic aura, aiding in her escape from Jiang country. This was currently the most he could do for Nangong Mili. This bead is called Misty Sky, and it has the Misty Sky illusion ability. It can not only change one's appearance and conceal one's magic aura, but also completely disguise someone as another person. Such a disguise, even average nascent soul immortals would find hard to see through, Lu Chongqing told Nangong Mili as he spoke. In the meantime, he activated the Misty Sky bead, his appearance, body shape, voice, and magic aura constantly changing. Misty Sky bead? Even golden cores find it hard to see through the disguise? Nangong Mili, seeing Lu Changsheng's changing face, body shape, voice, and magic aura, narrowed her phoenix eyes slightly. She scanned him with her divine sense. Indeed, she couldn't find any flaws in his disguise. This surprised Nangong Mili. She faintly guessed the reason why Lu Chongqing suddenly spoke to her about this. This Misty Sky bead should be of some help to you. After Lu Chongqing finished speaking, he erased his imprint on the Misty Sky bead and threw it directly to Nangong Mili. Nangong Mili's exquisitely enchanting face paused in astonishment. Looking at the Misty Sky bead in front of her, her heart welled with emotions that were difficult to articulate, and her gaze turned distant. From the simple demonstration Lu Chongqing had just performed, she had already perceived the power of the Misty Sky bead. She knew it was an extremely rare and precious treasure. Yet at this moment, Lu Chongqing was giving it to her so readily. Deep down, however, she didn't wish to have any entanglement with Lu Chongqing any longer. Take it. And you don't need to hurry to leave. If you don't want to stay with me for long, I can leave now, and you can continue to heal here, Lu Chongqing said, looking at the changing expression on Nangong Mili's face. Without waiting for Nangong Mili to respond, he took out a stack of talismans from his storage bag. All of these were second-rank talismans. Xiao Chan, keep these talismans close to you and take good care of your master. Lu Chongqing stepped forward, handed the talismans to Meng Xiaochan, and said warmly. Meng Xiaochan looked at the talismans and, hearing his words, paused slightly, not understanding the meaning behind his words. Although her master was in a weakened state, and her injuries had not yet recovered, surely there was no need for her to take care of her, right? Biting her red lips and lowering her phoenix eyes with a face that shifted between cloudy and clear, Nangong Mili understood upon hearing these words that Lu Chongqing knew she was pregnant. Otherwise, he would never have said such things. Although she didn't know how Lu Chongqing found out about her pregnancy, after spending some time together, through the yin-yang energies, the Misty Sky bead, and her own and Meng Xiaocan's situation, she realized profoundly that Lu Chongqing was not simple. It was plausible that he had some special method of detection. Xiao Chan, keep this yin-yang sensing talisman. When I have time, I will come to Jin Kingdom to visit you. Of course, if you ever come to Jiang country, you can also come to see me. Lu Chongqing, seeing Meng Xiaocan's reluctance to leave him and her unwillingness to return with Nangong Mili, knew he could not suggest Meng Xiaochan stay while sending Nangong Mili back alone. If he dared to do so, Nangong Mili would definitely explode. Having said that, he gently embraced Meng Xiaochan. Then he turned towards Ling Zixiao and said, "Let's go, Zixiao." Okay. Ling Zixiao, witnessing this scene, even though she did not understand what it all meant, felt that something must have happened between Lu Chongqing and Nangong Mili. Otherwise, Lu Chongqing would not have acted as he did. She faintly guessed it had something to do with the drastic change in Lu Changsheng's attitude towards Nangong Mili from before. Miss Meng, these are the inverted 5-element formation and minor sky veil formation array plates and instructions on how to use them. Ling Zixiao took out 2 array plates and a jade slip from her storage bag, which were precisely for the formations set up here. Thank you, Miss Ling. Meng Xiaochan accepted the array plates and thanked her. Then the two boarded the spirit boat. Meili, Xiaochan, take care on your way. We shall meet again. Lu Chongsheng looked towards Nangong Meili and Meng Xiaochan, took a deep breath and said, Lu Lang, until we meet again. Meng Xiaochan looked at Lu Chongsheng, her eyes filled with reluctance, and spoke as she bit her lips. Nangong Meili's expression continually changed, revealing a look as if she had words to say but halted. Eventually, she suppressed the sourness in her heart along with various other emotions, closed her phoenix eyes gently, and chose not to look at Lu Chongsheng as she sat down to meditate nearby. Lu Chongsheng nodded, taking another glance at Nangong Meili by his side. Then the spirit boat whooshed and turned into a beam of light, shooting into the sky. Chapter 540. Meng Xiaochan. Master, it's the Lockhart Gu _1. The moonlight was like frost, and a gentle breeze blew softly. At the top of Spirit Pond Mountain, there was a serene tranquility. Only the pine trees not far away swayed gently, making a rustling sound. Yet this sound carried a certain solitude and desolation. No one knew how much time had passed. Nangong Meili slowly opened her eyes. Previously, when facing Lu Chongsheng, her heart pounded uncontrollably. Love, murderous intent, tenderness, anger, and bitterness surged, making it impossible for her to face Lu Chongsheng directly. Her whole being seemed overwhelmed by a flood, leaving her struggling to free herself. Now, as Lu Chongsheng had departed, her heart gradually calmed down. Xiaochan, tell me, what's going on between you and that dog, Lu Chongsheng? Nangong Meili looked at her disciple with a complex expression and spoke. Master, Meng Xiaochan, upon hearing her master's words, turned pale. She knew her master had become aware of the Lockhart Gu matter. Her teeth bit tightly on her lower lip, almost to the point of drawing blood, her delicate frame trembling, stuttering without speaking. Sigh! Nangong Meili quietly watched her disciple. Seeing Meng Xiaochan like this, she let out a deep sigh. Her heart was certain there was something wrong with Lu Chongsheng. Her love for Lu Chongsheng must have been manipulated by some means, and Meng Xiaochan must know something about it. But she had been influenced by Lu Chongsheng even more so. Otherwise, she would not show such a demeanor. Get some rest. Nangong Meili glanced at her disciple, remained silent, and closed her eyes again. Meng Xiaochan saw a fleeting disappointment in her master's eyes. It was like a knife twisted in her heart. She bit down on her lips firmly enough to draw fresh blood. Her heart quivered as she faced a choice between her master and Lu Chongsheng. Finally, she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, her complexion pale as paper, and uttered a single sentence. Master, it's the Lockhart Gu. In the night sky, a spirit boat streaked under the moonlight. On the boat stood a man and a woman. The man had a handsome face and a tall figure, dressed in a long robe of green, his aura detached from the mundane world, like an orchid or a dignified mountain. He inspired awe in those who saw him. The woman was beautiful, with her hair coiffed up, wearing a light blue dress, graceful and dignified. Her face was pale and devoid of color, making her appear voluptuous and frail. But her beautiful eyes were as clear as autumn water, lucid and spirited, commanding respect from anyone who saw her. My lord. Ling Zixiao noticed that Lu Chongsheng was somewhat troubled and gently took his hand. Although she did not know the situation between Lu Chongsheng and Nangong Meili, she knew that Lu Chongsheng was bothered by this matter. Could it be that my lord has fallen for Nangong Meili? Ling Zixiao guessed in her heart. Aside from that reason, she really couldn't figure out why Lu Chongsheng had such a change of attitude towards Nangong Meili. But falling for Nangong Meili would be normal. After all, her beauty and charm were enough to move even her, another woman, to fondness and adoration. Every time Lu Chongsheng was intimate with Nangong Meili, She couldn't help but marvel at how a woman as beautiful as Nangong Mili could exist in this world. It was just that she was too enchanting and domineering, which made her somewhat displeased. Fine. Lu Chongqing held Ling Zixio's hand and gave a slight smile. He was not saddened by matters concerning Nangong Mili, but the separation had made him a bit sentimental. He felt his own power was still too weak. One woman was carrying his child, the other had deep feelings for him. Yet at that moment, facing pursuit and assassination from the Heavenly Sword Sect, he could only leave it up to fate. All right. Ling Zixiao, seeing that Lu Chongqing didn't speak of his troubles, did not ask further and simply responded softly. Then, holding his hand, they stood side by side on the spirit boat. A major event recently occurred in the Qingyun region. Xiahou Yuni transformed into a demon cultivator and wreaked havoc everywhere. He had destroyed the Feng family fortress overnight. This fortress was home to a Foundation Establishment clan. The clan had 3 Foundation Establishment great cultivators. Although one Foundation Establishment ancestor had fallen during the previous campaign against the Xiahou clan, there were still 2 Foundation Establishment ancestors in the clan. The strength and heritage of their family were extraordinary. But such a Foundation Establishment clan was annihilated overnight by a demon cultivator. This news instantly caused widespread panic across the entire Qingyun region. Especially the families that had participated in the Qingyun sect's campaign against the Xiahou clan. They all feared retaliatory strikes against their own clans by Xiahou Yuni, now a demon cultivator. In these times, all families and marketplaces were on high alert, conducting rigorous patrols. After all, if the Feng family fortress could be destroyed overnight, it surely indicated an issue within the family itself. Otherwise, not even a false core powerhouse could breach and obliterate a cultivation family in one night. In Qingzhou Valley, the Lu family, Miaoga, has there been any news from Chongqing? Lu Yuanding inquired of his daughter Lu Miaoga. Due to the affair with Lu Miaofeng some time ago, Lu Miaoga had not returned to the Red Leaf Valley Market and had stayed at the family stronghold. Not only was the family anxious over the long absence of Lu Chongqing, but the house's backyard also needed Lu Miaoga to calm the people's spirits. No. Lu Miaoga, hearing this, pursed her lips and shook her head gently, feeling somewhat downhearted. Lu Chongqing had been away for a year and 3 months now. His prolonged absence naturally caused her worry. Moreover, with the issue of Xiahou money, the whole Qingyun region was feeling uneasy. And Lu Chongqing was usually quite prompt. If he said a year, it was usually a year. But now it had been over a year, and he had yet to return, a fact that made her uneasy. Chapter 541. Meng Xiaochun, Master. It's the Lockhart Gu, Lu Yuanding sighed softly upon hearing this. On one hand, he asked about this matter because the family was not in a good situation and hoped that Lu Chongqing, the second-grade talisman master, would return home soon to take his place in the family. On the other hand, it was also because he was concerned about Lu Changsheng's well-being. After all, the cultivation world was now restive, and Lu Chongqing was not safe out there. Miaoga, Xiahou money is currently causing chaos everywhere. With the elder ancestor injured, should the Xiahou family launch an attack, our family will undoubtedly be unable to resist and face annihilation. Therefore, the elder ancestor and I have discussed, and plan to have you take some of the children to either Nine Dragons Market or Qingyun Market. Lu Yuanding said, looking at Lu Miaoga. For a family, the most important thing is fresh blood. The Lu family was now in a precarious situation and couldn't afford any turmoil. The Feng family fortress demon path incident had caused Lu Yuanzhong and the senior members of the Lu family great concern, fearing that demon cultivators might find them on Qingzhou Mountain. Given Lu Yuanzhong's current situation, it would be very dangerous for the Lu family if demon cultivators attacked. So, they thought about having Lu Miaoga take some of the family's direct descendants to the big marketplaces. That way, even if the demon path attacked, the Lu family would still be able to preserve some of their lineage outside. Lu Miaoga's lips pursed lightly when she heard this, her mood somewhat heavy. She knew the family was preparing for the worst. Father, the family needs people to take charge now. Lu Miaoga spoke up. She suggested that other members of the family could take the children away, and she would stay to take charge of the family. After all, the Lu family really didn't have much energy refinement late-stage combat power left now. Miaoga, someone needs to look after these children. Moreover, Qingshan and Qingzhu are also coming of age for cultivation. If the family really faces disaster, only you would be able to raise and nurture these children into adulthood. Therefore, I think you are the most suitable person to handle this task. Lu Yuanding, already knowing what his daughter wanted to say, interrupted before she could speak. The family had to distribute some of the direct descendants elsewhere, but they couldn't send too many away at once. Doing so would cause panic and leave the family severely weakened. Although he was a clan cultivator, he was also a father. With a personal desire, he hoped his daughter would take on this task, to send Lu Qingshan, Lu Qingzhu, and Lu Qingsong, several of the children, away. Father, Chongqing has a foundation establishment friend from Qingyun sect in Green River Marketplace. I can send the children to Green River Marketplace and ask her for help in looking after them. After that, let one of the clan elders go to Green River Marketplace to take care of the children, so I can return and take charge of the family. After a moment of silence, Lu Miaoga said, thinking of sending the children to Green River Marketplace. Xiao Xie held the position of record chief in Green River Marketplace. As long as Xiao Xie would look after these children, their safety would be assured. Even if the Lu family encountered any problems, neighboring families and rival forces would not dare to be utterly ruthless. Moreover, by doing this, they could demonstrate to the outside world their connection with Xiao Xie, which could serve as a certain deterrent. As for whether Xiao Xie would agree, she felt quite assured. Because of Lu Wangshu, she had met Xiao Xie twice and the two had quite a long talk. Moreover, she would also be sending Lu Wangshu there this time. Good. You can make the arrangements now. Lu Yuanding, seeing the smile on his daughter's face, nodded and said. He also knew about Lu Changsheng's good friend from Qingyun sect who was at the foundation establishment level. This move could serve as a deterrent to outsiders. Although it wouldn't deter demon cultivators, it could still intimidate the neighboring families and forces coveting their Lu family. Immediately, Lu Miaoga and Lu Yuanding discussed which younger members to take on this trip. After all, the Lu family's spirit boat had limited space, able to carry only 12 people. Lu Miaoga, Lu Qingshan, Lu Qingzhu, and Lu Qingsong already occupied 4 spots. A spirit boat shuttled through the clouds. Only half a month's journey left. Lu Chongsheng, sitting cross-legged on the spirit boat, glanced at the jade slip map. Seeing that there was just about half a month's journey left to return to Qingzhu Mountain, his emotions surged, eager to be home. After all, he had intended his trip away to last only a year. But by the time he got home, it would be a year and a half. Without thinking, he knew his family must be very worried about him. I wonder what expressions Miaoyun, Sister Miaoga, and grandmother will have when I tell them of my breakthrough to foundation establishment. Lu Chongqing also thought about the looks on his family members' faces when he returned home and announced his breakthrough to foundation establishment. Though in the entire Jiang country cultivation realm, foundation establishment cultivators were not much to speak of. For lower-level cultivators and families like that on Qingzhu Mountain, foundation establishment was like ruling as kings. Many lower-level cultivators dream their whole lives of breaking through to foundation establishment. My talent and breaking through to foundation establishment at this age is a bit early. But considering the fortune in the cultivation world, it can be barely explained, I guess. Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Unknowingly, he was already 39 years old. It had been 21 years since he regained his memories at Qingyun sect's Heart Inquiry platform. Barely the age of 40 without confusion. But for a foundation establishment cultivator with a lifespan of 200 years, 40 was still his prime. Just then, a system notification sounded. Congratulations to the host. A descendant has been born, granting you 1 lottery draw opportunity. Huh? A descendant has been born? Lu Chongqing was momentarily taken aback when he heard this system notification. He realized the next moment that it must be his son, Lu Wuyu, and Li Shuer who had welcomed a new child. Chapter 542, Meng Xiaochun. Master, It's the Lockhart Gu before I knew it. I've also come to the age of being a grandfather. Lu Chongxing thought of his son Lu Wuyu, who had had children, and felt quite sentimental for a moment. He thought about how he hadn't been able to visit Rui Prefecture in over a year. By now, quite a few of his children must have started their own families. I wonder if Pingon has come back. Lu Chongxing then thought of his eldest son, Lu Pingon. Initially, this son had said he would go out to gain experience for a few years. When he left, Lu Pingon had not yet returned. Now, by his calculations, Lu Pingon should have finished his training and returned home. He was a bit curious, wondering if his son had made any progress or changes during his time away. He had a particular fondness for this eldest son. If he was still interested in cultivation, he would give him the Hope Gu to help him embark on the path of immortality. System lottery. After his thoughts had swirled for a moment, Lu Changsheng's mental spirit stirred slightly, and he began the lottery. The system lottery wheel emerged. Accompanied by a golden light, it started to spin. Not long after, the golden light stopped. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a treasure. Spiritual Eye Spring. The reward has been placed in the system space, and the host can check it at any time. A miniature spring eye pattern, gurgling with water, emerged from the lottery wheel, accompanied by a system notification sound. Spiritual Eye Spring? Lu Chongxing saw the reward he had won this time, and his eyes lit up with delight. He naturally knew what the spiritual eye spring was. The world has spiritual energy, and in places where the spiritual energy is rich, spirit veins, big or small, will form. The large spirit veins may extend for tens of thousands of miles without end. The small spirit veins might be less than a mile long, pitifully narrow. But regardless of the size of the spirit vein once formed, it would automatically emit a faint spiritual energy, allowing the spiritual energy of the enveloped area to circulate endlessly. However, the spiritual energy produced in different areas of these spirit veins is not uniform. The places where the spiritual energy is most concentrated and dense are naturally most suited for meditation and cultivation, or for planting spirit plants, and are therefore called spiritual eyes in the cultivation world. Spiritual eyes are generally invisible and colorless, and can only be perceived based on the concentration of spiritual energy. Alternatively, one could hire a feng shui master or a dragon seeker to find them. Any place known as a spiritual eye signifies that it is the spot with the most abundant spiritual energy in the nearby spirit vein. If the spiritual energy of the spiritual eye is dense enough and can be maintained for a long time, it may gradually develop a physical form, creating objects of the spiritual eye. For example, pearls, stones, springs, trees, and so forth of the spiritual eye. The spiritual energy emitted by these objects of the spiritual eye is much more concentrated and pure than that of ordinary spiritual eyes. Cultivating next to an object of the spiritual eye can be described as achieving twice the result with half the effort. What truly delighted Lu Chongxing was that such objects of the spiritual eye could be used to create and upgrade spirit veins. He wanted to establish a family, but the highest quality spiritual land he could find was only second rank. The reason was simple. Second-rank spirit veins were the highest-grade spirit veins that ordinary cultivators could find. Third-rank spirit veins were very rare and almost always owned. And Lu Chongxing still had the idea of planting trees on his mind. The Luminous Treasure Tree and Mount Sumeru Tree King within the system space. The Luminous Treasure Tree is still all right. The second-grade spiritual vein can barely sustain it. But the Mount Sumeru Tree King, if planted on a second-grade spirit vein, one doesn't need to think to know it's quite forced, consuming a great amount of spiritual energy. By then, it will surely affect the circulation of spiritual energy throughout the entire spiritual veinland, even the operation of the family great formation. I wonder what rank this spiritual eye spring is. If it's third rank, wouldn't I be able to make a small area have third-rank spiritual energy? In that case, the problem with the Mount Sumeru Tree King would be solved. Lu Chongxing pondered in his heart, looking towards the system space. Treasure. Spiritual Eye Spring. Rank. Third rank low grade. Description. A marvel created by the forces of heaven and earth, capable of continuously producing third-rank spiritual energy. Combined with a formation, it can create a small second-rank low-grade spiritual vein. Third rank low grade, capable of creating a second rank low grade small spiritual vein. Lu Chongqing looked at the information about the spiritual eye spring and was delighted. He thought to himself that the system indeed did not disappoint him. The effects of this spiritual eye were almost the same as what he had understood from the books. However, after obtaining a spiritual eye, no cultivator would use it to create a spirit vein. Doing so would be a complete waste of heavenly gifts. The most suitable use would be to carry it with oneself, or place it in a cave heaven to speed up the cultivation process. At the very least, it could be used to upgrade a spirit vein. A third-rank low-grade spiritual eye spring. With this spiritual eye spring, at least the spiritual energy issue with the Mount Sumeru Tree King would be resolved. Lu Chongqing pondered in his heart, planning to use the spiritual eye spring for the Mount Sumeru Tree King. He was somewhat curious in his heart if the Mount Sumeru Tree King, with its own cave heaven within, nurturing a world, could this spiritual eye spring be placed directly inside the Mount Sumeru Tree King? If it could be placed inside, wouldn't it be like having a power bank for continuous charging within the Mount Sumeru Tree King? My lord, are you so happy because we're getting close to home? At this moment, Ling Zixiao, who was resting on the spirit boat, woke up, saw the smile on Lu Changsheng's face, and said with a light smile. She found that Lu Changsheng liked to smile whenever he had nothing on his mind. But this smile was very comforting, soothing, like gentle sunlight, the spring breeze of March. Yes, in about half a month's journey we'll be there, Lu Chongqing said with a smile. As he neared home, his desire to return grew more and more urgent. Ling Zixiao looked at Lu Changsheng's sincere smile and felt that she truly couldn't see through this man. A son-in-law adopted into the family, yet he had grown to such an extent in just over 20 years. His methods and combat power were astonishing. His talent was unparalleled. Yet, in normal times, he didn't show the slightest arrogance of a genius, his face always mild and casual. At this moment, about to return home, the smile on his face, the longing in his eyes, was just like an ordinary mortal, distinctly different from many cultivators. Zixiao, once we get back, I should have a way to solve your dragon roar physique. Then you'll be able to fully recover and start cultivating again. Lu Chongqing looked at Ling Zixiao, who was beaming at him, and said with a light chuckle, "MHM." Ling Zixiao chuckled lightly, stood up, took Lu Changsheng's arm, and gently leaned her head on his shoulder, looking down at the sea of clouds below. Her heart was filled with anticipation and curiosity about Qingzhou Mountain, Lu Changsheng's family. Chapter 543, Bodhi Golden Cicada, Core Formation Accepting Disciples. Underscore 1,000s of miles of clear skies, as blue as washed. A spirit boat, emanating a deep blue glow, was flying swiftly through the sky. Lu Miaoga, with her hair elegantly coiffed high, her face beautiful and serene, was wearing a snow-white dress, dignified in manners, as she steered the spirit boat. On the boat sat several young boys and girls, ranging from 5 or 6 to about 10 years old. "Auntie, how much longer till we get there?" A young boy around 11 or 12, with a handsome face and bright red lips, dressed in a green shirt, asked Lu Miaoga. "Qingshan, in 3 or 4 days we'll arrive." Upon hearing Lu Qingshan's question, Lu Miaoga's beautiful and gentle face revealed a faint smile as she spoke softly. 3 or 4 days? Huh? Lu Qingshan, upon hearing this, immediately made an exaggerated display of weariness. He then looked over at his younger sister, Lu Qingzhu. He pinched her little cheek and said, "Come on, little Zhu. Tell your brother a story." Lu Qingzhu was dressed in a pink and white jacket and skirt, carved like jade, very pretty and adorable, especially her pair of sparkling large eyes that shined like crystals. When she heard what her older brother said, she tilted her head and asked obediently, "What story do you want to hear, brother?" How about a tale where Qingshan the Sword Immortal travels with his sister, slays demons, and finds treasures? Lu Qingshan thought for a moment and then spoke. He took the golden hamster from his sister's hands and began kneading it, making the earth spirit mouse squeak in his hands. "Still calling yourself Qingshan the Sword Immortal? Brother, you're shameless." Lu Qingsong, who was nearby, immediately said with a look of disdain upon hearing what Lu Qingshan had said. Pfft! Ever since the day I held a sword, I knew that I am destined to be a peerless sword immortal in the future. So show some respect to Qingshan the sword immortal. Lu Qingshan knocked on his younger brother's forehead and stood with his hands on his hips, looking like a mischievous little devil. Lu Qingshan, keep your voice down. You woke up little Wang Shu, a girl around 15 or 16, upon seeing the child in her arms awakened by the noise, immediately spoke up, none too pleased. Oh, don't cry, don't cry. The girl immediately started to comfort Lu Wang Shu, urging her not to cry. But for a child of that age, abruptly woken from sleep, it isn't that easy to be soothed. Show her, hand Wang Shu to me. Seeing this scene, Lu Miaoge immediately said with a tender expression, taking Lu Wang Shu into her arms. Due to Lu Changsheng and Xiao Xia's circumstances, Lu Wang Shu was mostly cared for by her. She practically treated Lu Wang Shu as if she were her own daughter. The crying Lu Wang Shu, once in the arms of Lu Miaoge, stopped crying immediately and called out milkily for her mother. You must all be tired and hungry by now. Let's rest a bit and have something to eat. Lu Miaoge comforted Lu Wang Shu and looked at the children on the spirit boat, speaking softly. The journey from Qingzhou Mountain to Green River Marketplace was long. This kind of travel, for the children, was very monotonous and exhausting. So, after covering a certain distance, she would let the children rest and relax a bit. Yay! Lu Qingshan heard this and his face immediately lit up with happiness. He was naturally lively and active on any regular day. This long journey had been quite unbearable for him. As the spirit boat descended from the sky, Lu Qingshan looked at the earth spirit mouse in his hand, gave it a couple of squeezes, and said out loud, Xiao Jin, quick, look around. Are there any treasures nearby? Brother, do you really think treasures are just lying around for the picking? Mom told me that those spirit stones you picked up before were deliberately placed outside by Aunt Yun for you to find, and you were foolishly happy for days. Lu Qingsong said to his older brother with a face full of disdain. If you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Lu Qingshan replied irritably. He muttered to himself, that can't be right. According to the stories, the protagonist always finds treasures when they go out. My dad went out and found Xiao Hei, Xiao Jin, De Qing, and the golden potato. How come I can't find anything? A look of dissatisfaction appeared on Lu Qingshan's face as he rubbed the earth spirit mouse in his hands even more vigorously. Just then, the earth spirit mouse in his hand sniffed around and chirped at Lu Qingshan, while its two little paws pointed in a direction. Xiao Jin, are you saying there's a treasure up ahead? Seeing the earth spirit mouse's actions, Lu Qingshan's eyes immediately shone. He excitedly turned to Lu Miaoge and shouted, Auntie, Xiao Jin says there's a treasure here. Treasure? Lu Miaoge was somewhat surprised. She hadn't expected there to actually be a treasure in the vicinity. But if the earth spirit mouse said there was, then there certainly was. She said affectionately and indulgently, all right, since there's a treasure, let's go and have a look. Immediately, she steered the spirit boat slowly in the direction the earth spirit mouse was pointing. It's right here. Once the spirit boat stopped, Lu Qingshan said with a face full of excitement and anticipation. Then he turned to Lu Qingzhu and said, Qingzhu, don't worry. Even though encountering this treasure is due to my good luck, Xiao Jin also played a part, so you get half of the treasure. After saying that, he cast a disdainful glance at Lu Qingsong and said, Lu Qingsong, there's nothing for you. Just be envious. Lu Qingshan, you haven't even found the treasure yet, so don't speak too soon, Lu Qingsong said, refusing to accept defeat. Tisk, just be envious. Lu Qingshan, pulling Lu Qingzhu, jumped agilely off the spirit boat. Then he tossed the earth spirit mouse into the air and shouted, Go on, Xiao Jin. Qingshan, be careful. Lu Miaoge, holding Lu Wang Shu, called out to Lu Qingshan. Holding several talismans in her hands, she steered the spirit boat closely behind Lu Qingshan. Even with the earth spirit mouse's guidance, treasure hunting could be unpredictable and dangerous. It wasn't long before the earth spirit mouse arrived beside a large boulder, pointing at a pale golden bamboo shoot that had just sprouted. Is this the treasure? Chapter 544. Bodhi Golden Cicada, Core Formation Accepting Disciples. Sister, what kind of bamboo shoot is this? Lu Qingshan stepped forward to observe the bamboo shoot and asked Lu Qingzhu. Qingzhu Mountain was home to a school. Those with a spiritual root, by attending the school, would learn knowledge relevant to the cultivation world. Such topics included elixir medicines, talismans, spirit plants, demon beasts, and the identification of heavenly and earthly treasures. However, Lu Qingshan was relatively mischievous, fond of pranks and not very interested in studying. Meanwhile, Lu Qingzhu was of a quiet nature, liked to read books, and thus knew much more in matters of knowledge than Lu Qingshan. So whenever he didn't understand something, he would directly ask Lu Qingzhu. I don't know. Lu Qingzhu squatted beside it, glanced at the bamboo shoot a few times, and shook her little head, indicating her ignorance of what it could be. She studied diligently and enjoyed reading, but after all, she was only 10 years old. Her knowledge of the cultivation world was mostly just common sense, familiar things. This should be a bitter heart shoot. Lu Miaoge, standing to the side, looked at the pale golden bamboo shoot with some surprise and said, A bitter heart shoot? Both Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu had no idea what it was. A bitter heart shoot? Aunt, I remember reading in books that bitter heart shoots have very stringent growth conditions. They must grow in places where nature's spiritual energy is dense. How could one be growing here? On the spirit boat, a youth asked in astonishment. I am not sure either. Lu Miaoge shook her head. She too was puzzled about why a bitter heart shoot would grow here. Auntie, is this bitter heart shoot very valuable? Upon hearing this, Lu Qingshan immediately turned his attention to its value. After all, treasure hunting was all about the value. It depends on the situation. This bitter heart shoot has just sprouted. Its value should be around 300 to 500 spirit stones. Lu Miaoge said softly. Wow! So valuable, I'm going to be rich. Lu Qingshan's eyes sparkled with excitement upon hearing this. He then moved forward to dig out this bitter heart shoot. Be careful, Qingshan. Try not to dig it out by yourself. Seeing this, Lu Miaoge hastily raised her hand. Her spiritual power surged and she held Lu Qingshan back. Then she flicked her storage bag and a small white jade shovel appeared. She controlled the white jade shovel to dig out the pale golden bamboo shoot. Indeed, it is a bitter heart shoot. Lu Miaoge looked at the bitter heart shoot with a smile on her face. This bitter heart shoot, valued at least 300 spirit stones, was a decent find. Turning to Lu Qingshan, she said softly, Qingshan, they'll keep this bitter heart shoot for you, and give you the equivalent in spirit stones later. What is this? However, at this moment Lu Qingshan was looking at the pit from which the bitter heart shoot had been unearthed. In the pit lay a fist-sized, pale golden piece of glassy amber. He picked it up. Inside, there was a golden cicada of unimpressive appearance. As Lu Qingshan held the amber in his hand, it slowly began to melt. An unremarkable energy emanated from the ordinary-looking golden cicada within. Lu Miaoge, witnessing the amber in Lu Qingshan's hands and feeling its extraordinary energy, was visibly startled. She quickly stepped forward, lifted a delicate hand, and wrapped the piece of amber with her spiritual power just in case there was an issue with the cicada inside. At the same time, above the clouds, a giant gourd was flying slowly through the fierce winds. Resting on the gourd was a woman who appeared to be in her 30s, with a stunning, voluptuous figure, dressed in a bright red gown. The woman wore a splendid long dress in bright red. Her full bosom seemed eager to jump out from the neckline, proud without anger. Without revealing her entire form, just the tip of the iceberg was enough to make one involuntarily swallow hard. She lay indolently on the gourd, sipping slowly from another gourd, with 3,000 strands of loose hair and her bright red gown fluttering with the fierce winds, revealing 2 lovely, straight legs. Her thighs were full and firm but not plump, filled with a robust sensuality. Below her supple and smooth calves, her exquisitely sculpted, bare feet showed a faint blush, crossed beside the mouth of the gourd. Her stunning face flushed with a tinge of redness from constant drinking. Her eyes clouded with a sense of satisfaction from mild intoxication. This energy? At that moment, as if sensing something, she adjusted her posture to sit up more properly, with a slight frown. Then the large gourd beneath her transformed into a rainbow of light, tearing through the fierce winds and speeding toward the ground below. Ha ha ha! I truly am a child of fortune. In the woods, Lu Qingshan looked at the golden cicada in his hands and laughed exuberantly. Although he didn't know what the golden cicada was, Aunt Miaoga didn't recognize it. He inferred it was the molt of some rare and unusual insect, not at all ordinary. Therefore, he treated it as a rare treasure. Turning to Lu Qingzhu beside him, he said with a grin, "Little Zhuer, don't worry, you'll have half of this treasure." Swish! Just then, a rainbow of light shot through the air. A tall woman with disheveled black hair, wearing an opulent bright red dress, appeared atop a giant gourd. The Bodhi golden cicada? The woman in the red dress, upon seeing the golden cicada in Lu Qingshan's hands, showed a look of surprise on her face. "Greetings, senior." Seeing the woman who had suddenly appeared, Lu Miaoga was immediately startled and hurriedly bowed respectfully. Although the stranger had not revealed much of her formidable presence, the faint aura she exuded, along with her arrival streaking through the sky, immediately made Lu Miaoga realize that this was a nascent soul immortal. Cultivators who break through foundation establishment can fly through the sky, and if they advance further and break through core formation, they can transform into a rainbow and soar into the 9 heavens' fierce winds. "Greetings, senior. Greetings, senior. Greetings, senior." Looking at this scene, Lu Qingshan, Lu Qingzhu, and the other Lu family disciples all expressed their astonishment. Chapter 545. Bodhi Golden Cicada, Core Formation Accepting Disciples. Emulating Lu Miaoga, he clasped his hands and bowed to the red-dressed woman. "No need for such courtesy. I just sensed a whiff of destiny and came to have a look." She waved her hand and spoke. She examined the golden cicada in Lu Qingshan's hand with her divine sense. "So it is just a Bodhi golden cicada that failed to shed its skin?" Indeed, had it been a living Bodhi golden cicada, how could it possibly have been picked up by such a small child? Nonetheless, the shed skin of a Bodhi golden cicada has the effect of aiding others in their cultivation and comprehension, and can also be used as the main ingredient in refining the Bodhi comprehension elixirs, which just happens to be useful to me. Yan Yuan glanced at the golden cicada in Lu Qingshan's hand. She pondered how she could acquire this Bodhi golden cicada for herself. In the cultivation world, the higher the cultivation level, the more one values karma and temperament. If she were to take the Bodhi golden cicada without any exchange, it would be tantamount to creating a karmic tie. Even though the most powerful person present, Lu Miaoga, only had a peak chi refinement cultivation and was completely disregarded by her, she, a dignified nascent soul immortal, would not stoop to taking a chance from a child. "It seems that this senior has come for the golden cicada in my hand." Lu Qingshan, although only 10 years old, was lively and clever, especially since he always liked to read storybooks and imagine himself in them. Seeing the arrival of this senior figure, looking at the golden cicada in his hand and mentioning a fateful treasure, he knew that the other party was attracted to the golden cicada. Thinking of the stories in the storybooks where, upon encountering a senior figure after finding a treasure, offering it up proactively could also lead to benefits, he wondered if perhaps he could even become the apprentice of a senior figure. Although the other party seemed somewhat languid and casual, not like the legendary seniors, the fact that she descended directly from the sky and his aunt had greeted her with such respect clearly indicated she was indeed a senior figure. Thereupon, Lu Qingshan spoke, "Senior, I've just obtained this treasure and am willing to offer it to you." "Hee, what a clever little fellow." Yan Yuan smiled, looking at Lu Qingshan acting correctly. She thought about how to compensate Lu Qingshan and end any karmic tie. But the next moment, when she saw Lu Qingshan, she frowned slightly and a look of surprise and doubt appeared in her eyes. She then stepped forward and touched the top of Lu Qingshan's head. "Indeed, it is a Gungjin body constitution. No wonder you were able to activate the aura of the Bodhi golden cicada. It turns out it was because of the Gungjin body constitution. My master passed down the Gungjin sword art to me. This young man has the Gungjin body constitution, and his temperament and destiny are not bad, making him a suitable successor. Yan Yuan looked at the boy before her, pondering to herself, subconsciously reaching for the wine gourd on her waist. But hesitating for a moment, she immediately straightened her mature and fiery figure, the casualness fading from her face as she stood with her hands behind her back and spoke seriously. This cicada is called Bodhi Golden Cicada, and I happen to need it as an ingredient for refining a batch of elixir medicines. However, I would not take your chance for nothing. Given your exceptional talent, I am willing to take you as my disciple. Would you accept? Yan Yuan looked at Lu Qingshan before her and spoke. As she spoke, her bright red garments rustled, revealing her entire nascent soul aura. Suddenly she appeared majestic and transcendent, with quite the demeanor of a superior figure. Take me as an apprentice? Lu Qingshan blinked, not expecting her to actually want to take him as an apprentice. Although he often imagined such scenarios when reading storybooks, when actually faced with the situation, he was still surprised and conflicted. Moreover, he hadn't even discerned her abilities. How could he rashly accept her as his master? Exceptional talent, taken as a disciple? Hearing this, Lu Miaoge, who was holding Lu Wangshu, looked surprised and doubtful. I never expected this core formation predecessor to actually want to accept Lu Qingshan as a disciple. But Lu Qingshan only has a 6th grade spiritual root. This has nothing to do with exceptional talent, does it? If this predecessor is only interested in Lu Qingshan's opportunity and thus takes him as a disciple, I'm afraid, I am Tian Yuan, true immortal of Jinyang sect from Yu country. You, Junior, have a Gungjin body constitution, which perfectly matches the legacy of my sect. Yan Yuan realized that Lu Qingshan and Lu Miaoge were confused and remembered that he had not introduced himself yet. So he took out the Jinyang sect token and said with an authoritative voice, Jinyang sect from Yu country? Gungjin body constitution? Lu Miaoge was surprised again when she heard the other party's words and introduction. I never thought that he wasn't a cultivator from Jiang country, but a nascent soul immortal from Jinyang sect in Yu country. She had heard of Jinyang sect, one of the 5 major immortal sects in Yu country. Its status was similar to Qingyun sect and Wuxia sect of Jiang country. However, what surprised her the most was that Lu Qingshan was of the Gungjin body constitution. When Lu Qingshan was examined for his spiritual root at the age of 6, he only showed a 6th grade spiritual root. He hadn't yet started cultivation, and his spiritual body had not been revealed. Nobody in the family knew that Lu Qingshan possessed a spiritual body. Only when she heard this Tian Yuan true immortal did she realize that her sister's son actually had a Gungjin body constitution, although a Gungjin body constitution is just one of the common 5 elements spiritual bodies. But a spiritual body is a spiritual body nonetheless. As long as Lu Qingshan does not die prematurely, it's highly likely he'll achieve foundation establishment. If he could become a disciple of a nascent soul immortal, there might be hope for core formation. Qingshan, don't you hurry to thank the senior, Lu Miaoge quickly said to Lu Qingshan. Knowing that the nascent soul immortal was interested not only because of the chance object, but also because of Lu Qingshan's Gungjin body constitution, so he was willing to accept a disciple, she was relieved. After all, being accepted as a disciple by a nascent soul immortal is an enormous opportunity and a great fortune. Although the journey to Jinyang sect of Yu country is long, it's obviously worth it compared to the chance of being a disciple under a nascent soul immortal. Jinyang sect, Tian Yuan true immortal? Lu Qingshan wasn't familiar with Jinyang sect, only knowing about Qingyun sect. But from what he heard and seeing the look on his aunt's face, he figured Jinyang sect must be similar to Qingyun sect. Moreover, the other party claimed to be a true immortal, which meant a true nascent soul immortal. This was a truly exalted senior. For such a senior to take him as a disciple, he was naturally very willing. Seeing Lu Miaoge urging and the envious looks from others, Lu Qingshan clenched his teeth. He spoke up, Senior, this golden cicada was found by me and my sister together. My sister also deserves half. Could you also take my sister as your disciple? Lu Qingshan held his sister's hand, looked up at Yan Yuan before him, and pursed his lips as he spoke. Although their personalities were vastly different, one lively, the other quiet, their relationship was extremely good. Lu Qingshan knew that his sister had a 7th grade spiritual root. Her talent could be considered average, even poor. If she could be taken as a disciple by a nascent soul immortal, her future cultivation path would be much easier. Chapter 546. A stroke of luck and a foundation establishment breakthrough outside. Underscore 1. Your sister. Yan Yuan frowned slightly upon hearing this. She was usually lazy and uninterested in managing affairs, not even taking a single disciple. If it hadn't been for the fated opportunity this time, seeing that Lu Qingshan possessed the Gengjin body constitution, perfectly suitable to inherit her lineage's cultivation technique, she really didn't want to take on disciples. At this point, accepting one disciple and having to include another was something she was reluctant to do in her heart. Qingshan. Lu Miaoge looked at Lu Qingshan, who wanted to bring his daughter, Lu Qingzhu, and felt deeply moved. If her daughter could become an apprentice to a nascent soul immortal, perhaps she might have a chance at reaching foundation establishment in the future. But she knew that the matter of a nascent soul immortal taking disciples was not one to be taken lightly. She immediately expressed her apologies to the woman in the red dress. Senior, Qingshan doesn't understand. Please forgive his ignorance. Immortal. Yan Yuan looked at the youth in front of her, lips pursed, leading his sister by the hand. She could see a bit of stubbornness between his brows. She knew that if she only took the youth before her as a disciple, he would likely not be willing. Forget it. Taking one is the same as taking two. There's only me on Tian Yuan Peak. It's very quiet. Having the siblings together would be just right for companionship, looking out for each other, she thought to herself. Then, turning to Lu Qingzhu, she asked, "Would you like to follow your brother and take me as your master?" Lu Qingzhu was taken aback by the fact that the nascent soul immortal before her actually wanted to take her as a disciple. She looked at her mother and then at her brother, Lu Qingshan. Seeing both of them nod towards her, indicating her to agree, she then obediently said, "Senior, I am willing." Disciple Lu Qingshan greets master. Lu Qingshan immediately showed a happy smile and, taking his sister by the hand, loudly performed the greeting. Although he wanted to ask if it would be possible to take his brother, Lu Qingsong, as well, he knew that was unlikely given the circumstances. Lu Qingzhu, watching her brother, also performed the greeting obediently, with a clear and childlike voice. Disciple Lu Qingzhu greets master. Lu Qingshan, Lu Qingzhu. All right, from now on, you are my disciples. Yan Yuan's disciples. Yan Yuan nodded her head upon hearing their names, lightly raised her hand, and let the two stand up. She then turned to Lu Miaoge and said, "I happen to be visiting Jiang country this time, and I will be returning soon. Jinyang sect is far from Jiang country, but once the siblings make their breakthroughs in foundation establishment, I will allow them to return and visit their family. This is my token. If you ever have any difficulty, you can come to the Jinyang sect with this token to find me." Yan Yuan took out a token and spoke to Lu Miaoge. Now that she had taken someone's children as disciples, she naturally couldn't just take them away without giving any reassurance. She had to offer some promises. In fact, seeing Lu Miaoge with so many children, she had already guessed that the woman might be facing some issues. However, her innate laziness often kept her from interfering too much in others' affairs. Hence, she only offered the promise for foundation establishment and the token. If Lu Miaoge ran into difficulties in the future and sought her out at Jinyang sect, she would help if it was convenient. If not, she would rather not worry about it. "Thank you, senior." Lu Miaoge, hearing these words, accepted the token with a respectful bow. She then instructed Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu to heed their master's instructions and to cultivate diligently. "Mother." Lu Qingzhu felt the impending separation, and her big, watery eyes suddenly turned red, brimming with tears, her face filled with reluctance. "Aunt, rest assured, I will definitely take good care of my sister." Lu Qingshan, although feeling sad inside, was comparatively more composed. He considered this journey an opportunity for cultivation. Holding his sister's hand, he earnestly said to Lu Miaoge, "Yes, my Qingshan understands things best." Lu Miaoge stroked Lu Qingshan's head, hugged the two of them, her eyes filled with reluctance. Knowing that once her children went to Jinyang sect, it might be decades before she saw them again. But for the sake of her children's future prospects, she could only keep her reluctance hidden in her heart. "All right, Qingshan, little Zhuer, you must listen to your master and cultivate well. When possible, your father and I will come to visit you." Lu Miaoge repeated her instructions. But even she didn't have much confidence in her latter words. The journey from Qingzhou Mountain to Jinyang sect in Yu country was very distant. If she couldn't become a foundation establishment cultivator, the journey would be fraught with danger. She might only be able to wait for her children to reach foundation establishment and return home many decades later. "Aunt, please tell my mother not to worry about me. I will come back after succeeding in my cultivation. You tell grandfather that I will surely become a foundation-building great cultivator, a peerless sword immortal. Oh, and when my father returns home, tell him that I've been taking good care of the Jean to potato. If you and father come to visit Zhuer and me, remember to bring Jean to along." Lu Qingshan lightened the mood as he could see his aunt was also very reluctant. He smirked as he spoke. "All right, I will convey these words to your mother, grandfather, and father. You focus on cultivating with your master, and when you become a peerless sword immortal, your aunt, father, mother, and grandfather will all be happy and proud of you." Lu Miaoge forced a gentle smile on her face and softly tousled her son's hair. Then she turned to Yan Yuan and bowed. "In the future, I will trouble Immortal to care for Qingshan and Qingzhou. That is only natural." Yan Yuan observed the farewell scene with an indifferent expression and nodded slightly. She then raised her hand, allowing Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhou to land on her huge gourd. "Since that's settled, I will take my leave. If you wish to visit Jinyang sect in the future, you may use my token to contact the Jinyang Commerce Guild. The Jinyang Commerce Guild has business dealings with Jiang country, and when the time comes, you can take the spiritual vessel of Jinyang sect to travel to Yu country." Chapter 547. A stroke of luck and a foundation establishment breakthrough outside. Yan Yuan's voice was authoritative as she spoke to Lu Miaoge. She had noticed that Lu Miaoge was just an energy-refining cultivator. With such a cultivation level, attempting to travel from Jiang country to Yu country was extremely dangerous. Out of deep motherly love and seeing that her two disciples were still young, she was willing to offer them away. "Many thanks, Immortal." Upon hearing these words, a joyful expression immediately appeared on Lu Miaoge's beautiful face. If they could take the trade association's spiritual vessel to Jinyang sect, all she would have to do was save up some spirit stones, and then she'd be able to visit her children. This filled her heart with great joy. Looking at the siblings on the gourd, she once again exhorted them to listen to their master and cultivate diligently. "Qing Song, when your brother returns, he'll look after you. You sister, you must cultivate diligently, or else you'll only be able to gaze at my back from now on." Standing atop the giant gourd, Lu Qingshan waved and called out to Lu Qingsong and the others. The next moment, the gigantic gourd transformed into a divine rainbow and disappeared into the sky. Lu Miaoge, cradling Lu Wangshu, stared blankly at the divine rainbow vanishing into the sky. "Auntie! Aunt!" Several little ones on the spirit boat, seeing Lu Miaoge's sad unwillingness to part, came forward to comfort her. Apart from Lu Qingsong, no one else felt much sadness or sorrow. Instead, they felt envy. After all, this was a nascent soul immortal. They had only read about nascent soul immortals in books and textbooks. Now, Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhou were taken as disciples by a nascent soul immortal to an immortal sect. Naturally, this made them incredibly envious. Fine. Now that Qingshan and Qingzhou have gone to an immortal sect to cultivate, you must also diligently cultivate daily, understand? Lu Miaoge came back to her senses, revealing a gentle smile as she patted the little ones' heads, though her eyes were still a bit red. She then took out a food container from her storage bag and let the children start their meal. Even though consuming a fasting pill meant they wouldn't feel hungry. These kids were still young and growing, and they often craved snacks. Chongsheng, Qingshan actually possesses a Gengjin spirit body. Now he's been noticed by a nascent soul immortal and taken as a disciple. His future is boundless, and perhaps he has the potential to reach core formation. Moreover, Qingshan is very sensible. After being taken as a disciple by the nascent soul immortal, he still looked after his sister, requesting the nascent soul immortal to take little Zhu as a disciple. Now little Zhu has also been taken as a disciple by the nascent soul immortal. Perhaps in the future, both children could successfully reach foundation establishment. As Lu Miaoge watched the kids begin to eat and gazed into the sky where the divine rainbow had disappeared, she was lost in thought. She wanted to share this news with her husband, but the thought of Lu Chongsheng being out and not yet returned weighed heavily in her heart, stirring worries. She took several deep breaths, slowly exhaled, and calmed her emotions. She then carefully examined the token given to her by Yen Yuan and carefully put it away. This token from a nascent soul immortal could not only take her to Jinyang sect. If Qingzhou Mountain ever faced danger, perhaps the token could serve a deterrent effect based on its value. After the children had rested and eaten, Lu Miaoge piloted the spirit boat, continuing towards Green River Marketplace with the children. Without Lu Qingshan, the spirit boat was a bit quieter than usual. For days later, Lu Miaoge, piloting the spirit boat, arrived at Green River Marketplace. Due to the events involving the Demon Path, Qingyun sect's marketplaces were on high alert and increased patrols. Around the marketplace, cultivators patrolled a radius of tens of miles. After landing outside the marketplace, Lu Miaoge took out the communication talisman from Xia. Shortly after, Xia appeared. She wore a moon-white dress, her demeanor cold, and her aura noble and pure like the bright moon high above, keeping others at 1,000 miles distance. Fairy Shiyu, Fairy Xiao, Uncle Master Shiyu. Seeing Xia, the disciples of Qingyun sect immediately bowed courteously. Xia nodded slightly, her beautiful eyes indifferent and majestic, like the cold moonlit night, exuding a daunting charisma. However, when she saw Lu Miaoge and the infant she was holding, her eyes revealed a gentleness. Her previously icy aura softened. Apart from Lu Chongsheng, only their daughter Lu Wangshu could stop the operation of her supreme emotion-severing art. Miaoge, did you encounter any trouble during your trip here? Xia approached and, seeing Lu Miaoge holding her daughter and accompanied by so many children, inquired. Shiyu, Lu Miaoge immediately explained the situation of her family and the purpose of her trip. All right, no problem, Xia replied upon learning it was just a precaution and not that any actual trouble had occurred. Nodding her head, she immediately had someone arrange for identity jades and accommodations for Lu Miaoge and the others. As the record chief of Green River Marketplace, such matters were easily done with just a word from her. After seeing Lu Wangshu wake up, Xiaoxia's face softened as she held her daughter, her eyes glowing with maternal warmth. The Qingyun sect disciples witnessing this were astounded, as if they had seen a ghost. They never imagined that the usually cold and noble fairy Shiyu had such an unknown side full of tenderness. At the same time, they thought that the relationship between this woman and Xiaoxia must be quite close. To be able to ask fairy Shiyu to be the godmother to her child. They therefore became more eager and attentive towards Lu Miaoge's affairs. After settling the children and the residents, Lu Miaoge chatted with Xia. Don't worry, Miaoge. Chongsheng is probably just delayed by something and is not in any danger, Xia said, noticing Lu Miaoge's worried expression and comforting her. I guess he'll be back in a while, she presumed, knowing Lu Changsheng's methods and believing in his strength. Chapter 548. A stroke of luck and a foundation establishment breakthrough outside. She had heard from the sect that her senior sister, while investigating the Xiahou family incident, was critically injured by Xiahou Wuwa. It just so happened that a spiritual vessel passing by saved her, thanks to the intervention of Qiyun True Immortal. But senior sister Chu Qingjia's heart was attacked by corpse poison, and it was loose cultivator Han Li who stepped forward to heal her. Therefore, she firmly believed that Lu Chongqing wouldn't encounter any dangers. He was just being held up by some matter. Hearing Xiao Xie speak in this way, Lu Miaoge nodded gently. The worry for Lu Chongqing in her heart lessened a bit. After all, as a disciple of the Immortal sex, a Foundation establishment great cultivator, and sharing a Tao companion bond with her own husband, Xiao Xie's words were very convincing to her. After chatting for a while, she also brought up her children's matters, Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu. She inquired with Xiao Xie about the Jinyang sect's Tianyuan True Immortal and the Jinyang Chamber of Commerce's spiritual vessel. She knew of the Jinyang sect of Yu country, but she was unclear about Tianyuan True Immortal, the Jinyang Chamber of Commerce's spiritual vessel, and such details. This information was beyond her reach. Xiao Xie didn't know much about this either. She said she would find out more later on. Once she had the relevant information, she would then inform Lu Miaoge. She also reassured Lu Miaoge that the Jinyang sect was a righteous sect. The Tianyuan True Immortal, being a nascent soul immortal, naturally had the demeanor of one, so she could rest easy. That day, outside Qingzhou Mountain, a spirit boat descended. Finally back. Lu Chongqing, looking at the familiar Qingzhou Mountain before him, wore a smile on his face. "Let's go, Zhixiao." Then turning to Ling Zhixiao at his side, he said warmly, taking her hand and stepping off the spirit boat. Having brought Ling Zhixiao home to an unfamiliar environment, he naturally gave her a sense of security. "Chongqing, you're back?" Elder 9. At the mountain gate, the Lu family's stationed elders saw Lu Chongqing and immediately showed a look of delighted surprise. As a second-rank talisman master, Lu Chongqing still held considerable prestige within the Lu family. His return from the journey naturally uplifted people's spirits. "Yes, this journey has caused everyone some concern," Lu Chongqing said with a light laugh. He then introduced Ling Zhixiao to the Lu family elder before him. "This is my Tao companion, Ling Zhixiao." "Tao companion?" Hearing this, the elder took a glance at Ling Zhixiao. Her facial features couldn't be considered stunning, just above average. Her complexion was pale and lacking color, making her look extremely frail and delicate. However, her bright and luminous eyes, as well as her calm and elegant demeanor, were enough to make anyone see her extraordinariness at a glance. "Pleased to meet you, Taoist Ling," the elder said politely. He didn't pay too much mind to Lu Chongqing finding a Tao companion. He was also an old member of the Lu family, having watched Lu Chongqing grow up. He remembered that every time Lu Chongqing returned home in the past, he would bring a bunch of concubines with him. Now, having been away for so long, bringing back only a Tao companion was already quite restrained. But thinking of the family's recent troubles and Lu Changsheng's absence during that time, the elder felt somewhat uncomfortable. However, he didn't say anything. He opened the mountain gate grand formation, letting Lu Chongqing and Ling Zhixiao in. As Lu Chongqing and Ling Zhixiao stepped into Qingzhou Mountain, the mountain protection array glowed slightly. It made a faint mana aura emanate from Lu Changsheng's body. What's this about? No good. Foundation establishment. There's Foundation establishment mana. The elder and several station disciples, seeing this scene, were instantly panicked. But the next moment, when they saw the Foundation establishment mana coming from Lu Chongqing, they were filled with shock, surprise, astonishment, and disbelief. "I had some luck on my journey outside, and I managed to break through to Foundation establishment," Lu Chongqing said, smiling at the surprised, incredulous looks on everyone's faces. He had never intended to hide his cultivation level on his return. He was planning to reveal the breakthrough he made in the Foundation establishment directly. It was unexpected that the family's great formation would detect the mana inside him so readily. Ling Zhixiao, standing beside him, inwardly scoffed. What luck, when he had clearly broken through to the middle stage of Foundation establishment. But she had read the intelligence on Lu Chongqing. Knowing that he had reached the middle stage of Foundation establishment was indeed astonishing. If word got out, some cultivators might wonder if Lu Chongqing had gained some significant fortune. Thus, they might seek to take that fortune and bring trouble to him. However, remembering Lu Changsheng's power when he killed 5 robber cultivators, she thought that unless a nascent soul immortal attacked, ordinary Foundation establishment cultivators were no match for Lu Chongqing. Broken through to Foundation establishment? Chongsheng, did you say you've broken through to Foundation establishment? The Lu family elder exclaimed with a face full of shock and disbelief, asking for confirmation. Even though he saw the family's great formation since Lu Changsheng's Foundation establishment mana, it was still hard to believe. He couldn't believe that Lu Chongqing had actually broken through to Foundation establishment. After all, this was Foundation establishment great cultivator. Yes, haven't you seen it? Lu Chongqing said, his voice carrying as the mana aura of the early stage of Foundation establishment emerged around him. Good, good, good. The Lu family elder trembled with excitement, repeatedly expressing his joy, considering the family's current circumstances, having Lu Chongqing, a second-grade talisman master, return and break through to become a Foundation establishment great cultivator, naturally made him ecstatic. But the next moment, he looked at Lu Chongqing, unsure of what to do or say. Before, he had been able to exercise some of his seniority and call him Chongqing, but now that Lu Chongqing had broken through to Foundation establishment, it left him not knowing how to compose himself. I will go inform the ancestors and the family head, he said, turning to Lu Chongqing. He hurriedly sent a message to Lu Yuanzhong, Lu Yuanding, Lu Miaochang, and others, telling them that Lu Chongqing had returned, and that Lu Chongqing had broken through to Foundation establishment. Chapter 549. Second rank top quality talisman master. Reunion. _1 Lu Chongqing had originally planned to first return home, see his wives and children, and have a family reunion. On this trip to the Zhouxiao Immortal City, he had not only prepared a surprise for Lu Miaoge, he had prepared gifts for all his wives and children as well. However, the elder of the Lu family indicated that Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding were on their way over and asked Lu Chongqing to wait for a moment. Facing this situation, Lu Chongqing didn't have much to say. After all, a breakthrough in Foundation establishment was indeed a major event for the Lu family. If he rushed back home now, it was likely that as soon as he entered the door, Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding would come looking for him, and he wouldn't be able to have a proper family reunion. Whoosh! Instantly, a streak of escape light flew from the depths of Qingzhou Valley. Upon the movement of the family's great formation and the urgent message, Lu Yuanzhong, the Lu family ancestor, arrived first on the scene. Chongqing, you've returned? When Lu Yuanzhong arrived at the mountain gate and saw Lu Chongqing, joy immediately spread across his face. But in the next moment, when he noticed the faint spiritual pressure surrounding Lu Chongqing, his face turned from joy to surprise, astonishment, and shock. Chongqing, you've broken through to Foundation establishment? Lu Yuanzhong exclaimed in shock. Even though he had previously speculated that Lu Chongqing might have been concealing his strength, he could never have imagined that, on this trip out, Lu Chongqing would actually break through to Foundation establishment and become a Foundation establishment great cultivator. This was simply astonishing. Ancestor, I encountered a fortunate opportunity during my trip and luckily achieved a breakthrough in Foundation establishment, Lu Chongqing said with a bowing smile as he looked at Lu Yuanzhong's astonished face. Even though he had revealed his Foundation establishment cultivation, he still considered himself a junior. He did not call Lu Yuanzhong by the informal term fellow Taoist. After all, according to the family hierarchy, Lu Yuanzhong was the great-uncle of Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan. Good. Chongqing, congratulations on your breakthrough to Foundation establishment. Lu Yuanzhong immediately became emotional and nodded repeatedly in response. After the battle at Blackwater Pool, he felt a greater pressure than anyone else in the Lu family. Not only had the core elite of the family suffered heavy losses in that battle, but he, the family ancestor, had also been severely injured and didn't have much time left to live. Afterward, he poured all the family's resources into Lu Miaofeng, hoping that he would break through to Foundation establishment and support the family. However, Lu Miaofeng failed. The Foundation establishment failed. At that moment, he aged considerably in an instant. His already weary body and spirit took on an added measure of sadness. He was constantly worried and restless day and night. It was precisely because of this that upon hearing the news that the Feng family fortress was destroyed by Xiahou money, he immediately discussed with Lu Yuanding the possibility of sending some of the direct family descendants away with Lu Miaoge. He was afraid that the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain would fall on his watch. Now seeing Lu Chongqing return after achieving foundation establishment, the tightly wound and weary spirit relaxed slightly. Even though Lu Chongqing was not a blood descendant of the Lu family, he had been with the Lu family for more than 20 years, had taken a wife and had children, and had shared hardships with them, having long been rooted in Qingzhou Mountain. Now that he had returned after achieving foundation establishment, his sincere and humble address of ancestor to Lu Yuanzhong showed not a trace of arrogance. That's why he trusted Lu Chongqing. "Ancestor, what happened to your health?" Lu Chongqing asked as he looked at Lu Yuanzhong's complexion. Lu Yuanzhong used to look around 40 years old, but now he seemed at least 20 years older. Moreover, his complexion was dark and dull, his aura chaotic, and there was an air of decline about him. He roughly guessed that Lu Yuanzhong had been injured in the battle at Blackwater Pool, for he could faintly sense a trace of the corpse poison he once used to help Chu Qingyi detoxify from Lu Yuanzhong. There was some trouble caused by the forces from the demon path before, so I was injured a bit," Lu Yuanzhong said, relaxing his eyebrows as he spoke. He had long come to terms with his own life and death. What he couldn't let go of was the family and his responsibility. At this moment, Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochang rushed over. Upon seeing Lu Chongqing and learning that he had made a breakthrough to foundation establishment, they reacted just like the previous Lu family elder, Lu Yuanzhong, full of disbelief, astonishment, and incredulity. Facing this reaction, Lu Chongqing could only once again confirm his achievement of foundation establishment, leaving both men shocked and overjoyed. Afterward, under the respectful, envious, awe-filled, and emotional gazes of the stationed Lu family descendants, Lu Chongqing led Ling Zixiao and went to the Qingzhou Great Hall with Lu Yuanzhong, Lu Yuanding, and Lu Miaochang. Such a significant matter as foundation establishment naturally warranted a good conversation with Lu Chongqing. "Jiming, hurry and share this good news, that Lu Chongqing has returned after completing his foundation establishment, with Miaoyun, Miaohuan, and the others." Once the stationed elder saw Lu Chongqing and the others leaving, he immediately came back to his senses and instructed his people to notify Lu Changqing's family about the auspicious news. "Yes." The stationed disciple, upon hearing these instructions, immediately acknowledged and went to convey the good news. At the Qingzhou Great Hall, Lu Chongqing recounted to Lu Yuanzhong, Lu Yuanding, and Lu Miaochang the details of his trip and how he accomplished foundation establishment. He stated that during this trip, by a fortunate coincidence, he had discovered an ancient cultivator's cave dwelling, which allowed him to break through to foundation establishment. It was also because of this that he met Ling Zixiao and became Dao companions with her. However, the secret realm was perilous, and Ling Zixiao had been seriously injured there, her foundation damaged, and now only 1/10 of her cultivation level remained. "I have met Daoist Ling." Only then did Lu Yuanzhong notice that Ling Zixiao was also a foundation establishment great cultivator. His entire focus had been on Lu Chongqing until then. Because Ling Zixiao was extremely weak and showed no trace of mana or spiritual pressure, he was startled when he heard Lu Changsheng's words and realized that Ling Zixiao was a foundation establishment cultivator, which made him much more respectful and courteous. After all, a foundation establishment cultivator was a foundation establishment cultivator. Even if only 1/10 of her cultivation level remained, she was still a foundation establishment cultivator. He couldn't help feeling emotional that not only did Lu Chongqing have great fortune, but he also had good romantic luck. Back when the Lu family and the Chen family were at war, a foundation establishment female cultivator had taken a liking to Lu Chongqing, openly expressing her feelings for him. Chapter 550. Second rank top quality talisman master. Reunion. Now that Head ventured out, he not only encountered fortuitous adventures that led to his breakthrough in foundation establishment, but also found a foundation establishment female cultivator to become Dao companions with. Such matters left him utterly at a loss for words. He couldn't help but reflect on his own journey, which consisted of nothing but cultivation, and yet more cultivation. Compared to Lu Chongqing, he felt utterly. Moreover, Lu Chongqing had achieved his breakthrough in foundation establishment at an even younger age. Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochang, listening to Lu Changsheng's story, were also filled with emotion, especially Lu Yuanding. One could say he had watched Lu Chongqing grow up step by step. So now it still felt like a dream, something unreal. He couldn't believe that the son-in-law he had brought back to the Lu family from the foot of Qingyun sect, his own son-in-law, had actually broken through to foundation establishment and become a foundation establishment cultivator. You must understand that's a foundation establishment great cultivator. Although he had always told Lu Chongqing to cultivate diligently and, relying on the talisman path, hoped for a future breakthrough to foundation establishment, hope and reality were completely different matters. After Lu Chongqing finished recounting his adventures, Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding also shared with Lu Chongqing some events that had occurred over the past year. It was only upon hearing these stories that Lu Chongqing realized the Lu family had gone through so much in the year. The battle at Blackwater Pool resulted in the death of 6 core high-ranking members of the Lu family. Among them was the second elder, someone Lu Chongqing was acquainted with. Lu Yuanzhong was gravely injured in the battle at Blackwater Pool, with corpse poison invading his organs and not much life left in him. Lu Miaofeng attempted foundation establishment, but the interference from other families, suspected to be the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain, led to her failure to break through. Xiahou money wreaked havoc in the region, and his wife Lu Miaoge took Lu Qingshan, Lu Qingzhu, and other Lu family disciples to seek refuge in Green River Marketplace. Hearing this news, Lu Chongqing felt a surge of guilt. He thought about how, over the past year or so, Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun, and others must have been not only worried about him but also in tremendous anguish. Ancestor, father-in-law, rest assured, I have returned. With the birth of divine sense after my breakthrough in foundation establishment, I've significantly improved in the talisman path. I am now capable of crafting second-rank superior-grade talismans, Lu Chongqing said to Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding. He intended to follow the dual excellence route of alchemy and talisman. In the realm of talisman path, he naturally couldn't afford to spend another 5 or 6 years making meager progress. Thus, taking this chance, he revealed himself as a second-grade talisman master of superior grade. This way, he could gradually disclose his alchemy skills in the future. What? Second-rank superior-grade talismans? Upon hearing this news, Lu Yuanzhong, Lu Yuanding, and Lu Miaochang all gasped in shock, too astonished to speak. Although they knew that a cultivator would experience notable enhancements in comprehending cultivation techniques and various cultivation arts upon the birth of divine sense, the extent of Lu Changsheng's enhancement was simply too frightening, wasn't it? They clearly remembered that it had been just over 3 years since Lu Chongqing had advanced to a second-rank talisman master. In just over 3 years, he had progressed from a second rank to a second-rank superior grade. You must understand, advancing in second-rank skills is like overcoming a huge hurdle. There are countless skill masters who spend their entire lives unable to cross such hurdles. Yet, Lu Chongqing, after his breakthrough, had leaped to become a second-rank superior-grade talisman master. A foundation establishment great cultivator and a second-rank superior-grade talisman master. Such strength and status left the 3 speechless, almost parched with their mouths agape. Sitting elegantly nearby, Ling Zixiao sipped her tea lightly upon witnessing this scene. She thought that if only they knew that Lu Chongqing was also a second-rank superior-grade alchemist, they would be even more shocked. However, seeing Lu Chongqing chatting with Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding, she was reassured that the information she had purchased from Heaven Knowledge Tower about Lu Chongqing was correct. The details Lu Chongqing revealed matched almost exactly with the records of Heaven Knowledge Tower. The only issue was that Lu Chongqing was hiding too much, so much so that apart from him, probably no one else knew the extent of his hidden abilities and the unknown methods he possessed. Ling Zixiao felt that even what she had seen was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to Lu Chongqing. Or rather, what she saw was only what Lu Chongqing wanted her to see, intentionally showing it to her. He was several times more mysterious than she knew. Ancestor, the cultivation technique I practice has some effectiveness against poisons. May I examine your injuries? Lu Chongqing then said to Lu Yuanzhong. The other party had been inflicted with corpse poison and didn't have much time left. If it was curable, he was naturally willing to help. After all, on this trip back, he planned to purchase a suitable spiritual land to establish his own family. Once he established a family, he would undoubtedly be very busy, and wouldn't be able to devote much attention or time to the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. But given the current situation of the Lu family, it was difficult for him to speak of leaving and establishing his own family. So if he could treat the injuries of Lu Yuanzhong, the Lu family ancestor, and stabilize the situation, it would be more than ideal. I have a second-rank special monster core, and as long as I gather the rest of the ingredients for the foundation establishment elixir, I can prepare to concoct it. Then I could spare one for the Lu family, and as long as there is a new foundation establishment in the Lu family, I wouldn't need to worry too much, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Although he had contributed a lot to the Lu family by crafting talismans over the years, a small favor deserves a great return. Over the past 2 decades, the Lu family had been nothing but good to him, as it was his wife's family. Now that he had the intent and the capability to leave, he should repay them 100-fold. Moreover, forming his own family didn't mean he would sever ties with the Lu family. With Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaohuan, Lu Miaoyun, and a host of wives, concubines, and children, he was bound to remain connected with the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. Good. I'll trouble you then. Chapter 551. Second rank top quality talisman master. Reunion. Lu Yuanzhong originally wanted to say that his body was already poisoned by corpse toxin, and medicine was of no avail. But thinking of Lu Changsheng's situation, he decided to act otherwise and extended his wrist for examination. Lu Chongsheng reached out and grasped Lu Yuanzhong's wrist, beginning to check his condition. He immediately saw that the other's organs were all corrupted by the corpse toxin. Corpse toxin has invaded the organs. Indeed, it's troublesome. Lu Changsheng's brow furrowed slightly upon seeing this. This corpse toxin was not as severe as the one from Chuqingyi, but it was also extremely difficult to handle, especially now as the corpse toxin had already rotted the organs. Even though his 7 luminary sword chi was capable of expelling toxins, it couldn't remove the corpse toxin, because expelling the toxin would harm Lu Yuanzhong's organs. Ancestor, I have a bottle of pure heart spirit purifying elixir here, which might help with your condition. Once your condition improves a bit, they'll try to see if I can remove some of the corpse toxin from you. After pondering for a moment, Lu Chongsheng took out a bottle of elixir medicines from his storage bag and said to Lu Yuanzhong. He couldn't completely rid the other of the toxin. He could only extend the other's lifespan as much as possible. Pure heart spirit purifying elixir? Upon hearing the name of the elixir, Lu Yuanzhong knew it was a second-rank elixir. It had effects such as purifying the mind, nourishing the spirit, relaxing the muscles, unblocking meridians, treating organ toxins, and harmonizing blood and qi. He didn't expect Lu Chongqing to be so generous right from the start. A relieved smile appeared on his face as he said, "All right, I will accept the elixir. All right, I won't hold you up any longer." Knowing that you're eager to return home for a reunion, Lu Yuanzhong looked at Lu Chongqing, smiled, and spoke. Knowing that he had been away for so long, Lu Yuanzhong understood Lu Changsheng's eagerness to reunite with his wives and children. "Thank you, ancestor." Lu Chongsheng smiled, stood up, and left. "Wait, Chongsheng, now that you've made your breakthrough in foundation establishment, I wonder when you plan to hold the foundation establishment ceremony so that I can make arrangements," said Lu Miaochong, looking at Lu Chongsheng and speaking out. Previously, Lu Miaochong had treated Lu Chongsheng with politeness. But now, with Lu Changsheng's breakthrough in foundation establishment, his words and expression inevitably carried a measure of respect and awe. The ceremony, let's just forget about it. We can celebrate within the family quietly. Now with Xiahou money causing chaos everywhere, if we were to hold such a large ceremony, we might attract unwanted attention. And besides, it could allow intruders to infiltrate our family during that time. Lu Chongsheng said after some thought. While holding the foundation establishment ceremony meant he could also take more wives and concubines, he would be very busy in the upcoming time. Having been away for so long, he needed to spend time with his wives and concubines and check on his children. He had to bring Lu Miaoge home, work on Tai Seed Wei art, help Lu Miaoge change to practice Water of Virtue technique, and deal with the breakthrough of foundation establishment. Then there was the integration of the 9 treasure Jade Rui, the creation of 3rd rank talisman, nurturing of treasure talisman, crafting of the 99 mysterious true strategy, making of the foundation establishment elixir, and inspection of the family spirit land. Thinking of these matters already made his head spin. He felt that without a year or two, he simply couldn't manage to finish up all this work. Therefore, he had no immediate plans for a grand ceremony and chose not to focus on taking concubines for the time being. He planned to continue this aspect after establishing his own family. Chongqing makes a good point. With Xiahou money wreaking havoc everywhere, it would be dangerous if he took the opportunity to infiltrate Qingzhou Mountain. Agreed Lu Yuanding. Since that's the case, let's just have a family celebration, Lu Miaochang said immediately upon hearing this. As the patriarch of the Lu family, he also had these concerns and took them into account. But the foundation establishment ceremony was a significant event. Whether or not to hold it still depended on Lu Changsheng's decision. If Lu Changsheng didn't agree, and he declared there would be no ceremony, celebrating quietly within the family would seem very disrespectful to Lu Changsheng, a foundation establishment great cultivator. All right. However, Sister Miaoge is still outside. I plan to go to the Green River Marketplace in the next few days to bring Sister Miaoge home, and then well celebrate. Lu Changxing voiced his plans. With Lu Miaoge still taking refuge with her children outside, he couldn't well start celebrating at home. Besides, how could they celebrate without Lu Miaoge present? Throughout their journey, Lu Miaoge had encouraged and accompanied him, hoping that he would cultivate well and one day achieve foundation establishment. Now that he had returned home after achieving foundation establishment, he naturally wanted to share this joy with her. All right, well, do as you say, Changxing. Upon hearing these words, Lu Yuanding's face immediately showed a smile of relief. He felt that his daughter had not married the wrong person. Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Miaochang saw this and also nodded secretly, their faces showing smiles. Their trust in Lu Changxing had always been strong over the years, for he had always valued relationships and was a person of great sentiment. Then Lu Changxing walked towards his own residence, with Ling Zixiao beside him. At this very moment, Lu Miaoyun, Lu Miaohuan, and Chu Zhenjin had already heard the news of Lu Changsheng's return and his breakthrough in foundation establishment. When they heard the news, they thought they were hallucinating. But they knew that it was impossible for someone to make such a joke, especially since Lu Jiming had sworn to Lu Miaoyun and Lu Miaohuan multiple times, asserting that Uncle Changxing had indeed returned and had broken through to foundation establishment. He was currently discussing matters in the hall with the elders and the family head, and would probably be back later. It was then that the women half believed these words, mainly because the news was just too outrageous, too incredible. This was a foundation establishment great cultivator after all. How could their own husband, after just one trip outside, break through to foundation establishment and become a foundation establishment great cultivator? However, after receiving the news, they immediately notified the other concubines, maids, and children in the back court to go out and welcome Lu Changsheng's return. The concubines, maids, and children, upon hearing the news of Lu Changsheng's return, were all bewildered. Some could hardly believe the message. Immediately, the women waited anxiously and expectantly for Lu Changxing to come back. About a quarter of an hour later, Lu Miaoyun, Lu Miaohuan, and Chu Zhenjin, who were waiting at the entrance of the estate, saw Lu Changxing, dressed in a green robe, with handsome features and an otherworldly air, walking towards them with a woman dressed in a blue gown, her beautiful face framed with a high hair bun and a dignified demeanor. Husband! Husband! Father! Father! Upon seeing this scene, Lu Miaoyun and Chu Zhenjin immediately ran towards Lu Changxing with excited faces and reddened eyes. Humph! Seeing Lu Changxing return with another woman, Lu Miaohuan immediately turned her pretty face away and snorted coldly. To think she had been so worried about him, and here he was flirting with another woman. Yuner, Zhenzhen. Lu Chongqing quickly stepped forward and embraced his two wives. Seeing that their eyes were somewhat red, it was obvious they were very concerned about him. He immediately felt even more guilty. "It's my fault. I was delayed so long on this trip outside and made you worry," said Lu Chongqing, hugging his wives and gently patting their backs to comfort them. "My husband has been busy with important matters outside," Lu Miaoyun said softly, holding on to Lu Chongqing. "Husband, I just heard that you've made a breakthrough in foundation establishment." Chu Xinjin looked up at her husband, seeking confirmation of the news. "That's right. This time while I was out, I encountered some good fortune, which is why I managed to break through to foundation establishment," Lu Chongqing said with a light laugh, tenderly stroking her hair. "Congratulations on your breakthrough to foundation establishment, husband." Chu Zhenshin's eyes widened as she heard this. Then her face filled with affection as she congratulated her husband. Although she was not interested in cultivation, after so many years on Qingzhou Mountain, she naturally knew what it meant to be a foundation establishment great cultivator. Upon hearing those words, Lu Miaoyun also showed a face full of surprise. Even though Lu Chongqing had personally told her so, she still felt as if it were a dream, so surreal. But seeing the real Lu Chongqing in front of her, the real touch, she immediately admired him, her eyes brimming with love as she said, "Congratulations on becoming a foundation establishment great cultivator, husband. Congratulations on becoming a foundation establishment great cultivator, husband. Congratulations, father, on becoming a foundation establishment great cultivator. Congratulations, dad, on becoming a foundation establishment great cultivator." At this moment, the other concubines and children all stepped forward, bowed to Lu Chongqing, and offered their loud congratulations. Chapter 552. One person completes a journey of several hundred years. _1 Lu Chongqing looked at the wife, concubines, and children before him. Memories of the past 20 years, the warm, joyful, and caring moments spent with his wives and children, surfaced in his mind. He clearly remembered that whenever he made progress in his cultivation or talisman path, his wives and children would always congratulate him like this. But now, initially his wives and concubines like Lu Lanchu, Lu Zir, Lu Qinger, and his children like Lu Pingon, Lu Wuyu, and Lu Wuyo were not at Qingzhou Mountain but had gone to Rui Prefecture. Alas! Lu Chongqing sighed softly in his heart, feeling a bit sentimental for a moment. However, looking at the scene before him, he put on a smile again and said, "Good, let's go home." Having said that, he saw Lu Miaohuan, who was standing aside in a black dress, graceful and elegant, biting her lip. Lu Chongqing stepped forward, took hold of her wrist, and said warmly, "Huan Huan, I've made you worry." This second young miss, although she had improved her temper a lot, but in front of so many people, she was still too embarrassed to throw herself into his arms, as Lu Miaoyun and Chu Xinjin would. And Lu Chongqing could guess Lu Miaohuan's thoughts. His long trip outside had caused concern. And to come back with another woman, naturally, she was a little upset. But such a small tantrum as a husband he would naturally accommodate. He pacified Lu Miaohuan and, with all his wives and children, entered the house, briefly introducing Ling Zixiao to the women. Then, from the storage bag he took out gift after gift. Elixir medicines, vestment robes, and accessories for his wives and concubines to preserve their beauty and youth. And for his children some vestment robes, small toys, and sweets. Previously, on the one hand, his finances were limited. On the other hand, it was to avoid displaying wealth ostentatiously. So, the gifts he gave his family were generally within a certain range. This trip to Juxiao Immortal City he saw many nice trinkets. And thinking of revealing his foundation establishment cultivation upon returning home, he decided to buy a bit more. Ling Zixiao watched the joyful atmosphere of Lu Chongqing and his family and the image of a happy family. Seeing Lu Changsheng's genuine smile, she understood that his previous mentions of missing his family were sincere. What a strange man! She sat quietly aside, maintaining her dignified composure, her face exhibiting an elegant smile. But her entire being seemed somewhat out of place in this heartwarming scene. Just then, a maid came forward, indicating that the fourth elder had arrived. Upon hearing this, Lu Chongqing promptly went out with Lu Miaoyun to welcome her. Grandmother. Lu Chongqing looked at the fourth elder, with white hair and a face full of wrinkles, leaning on a cane, and went forward to support her. Cultivating individuals usually have the means to maintain their youth. But this old person was over 100 years old, with not much life left, so senility was increasingly evident. Chongqing, I'm interrupting your family reunion. Grandmother couldn't contain her excitement when she heard about your foundation establishment, so she wanted to come and see for herself. The fourth elder looked at Lu Chongqing in front of her, sizing him up, her face filled with a kind smile. She had watched Lu Chongqing grow up step by step. It was hard to believe that the boy who was only at the third level of Qi refinement 20 years ago had become a foundation establishment great cultivator and second-rank talisman master. What are you saying, grandmother? Lu Chongqing was still very respectful to the old woman and invited her into the main hall. He then revealed his foundation establishment cultivation and his talisman path level to her. Very good, very good. Grandmother said long ago that you, Chongqing, would achieve great things one day. Seeing Lu Chongqing not only break through to foundation establishment but also make such progress in the talisman path, the fourth elder could not hide her emotional excitement. Shakingly holding Lu Chongqing's hand, full of gratified happiness, she spoke out loud, reminiscing about the past. The older one becomes, the closer to death, the more nostalgic and longing for the past they become. She had spent most of her life cultivating in the family, making talismans, contributing to the family. Now looking back, she believed the best decision she ever made was marrying Lu Miaoyun to Lu Chongqing and educating this grandson-in-law. After chatting with Lu Chongqing for a while, the fourth elder felt a bit tired and wanted to leave. At her age, both great joy and sorrow were very draining on her mental spirit and energy. Grandmother, I've acquired a second-rank lifespan extension pill during my time outside. Please accept it. Lu Chongqing looked at the old woman in front of him, took out a second-rank lifespan extension pill from his storage bag, and spoke. It said that cultivators in the energy refinement late stage can live up to 2 jiazi, or 120 years. However, truly reaching that age is still rare. The fourth elder had never suffered any serious injury, but long-term dedication to the talisman path and making supreme talismans had greatly exhausted her mental spirit and energy. Now, she had at most 10 years to live. This lifespan extension pill could almost extend her life by another 10 years. A second-rank lifespan extension pill? The fourth elder and everyone else present were extremely surprised. Lifespan extension pills were very precious and seldom seen on the market. A second-rank lifespan extension pill could sell for at least 7,000 or 8,000 spirit stones. Therefore, even though the fourth elder was a top-level talisman master, she had never consumed a second-rank lifespan extension pill. Chongqing, your grandmother accepts your sentiment, but you should keep this lifespan extension pill for yourself. Don't waste it. You've just broken through to foundation establishment. There will be plenty of other expenses. The fourth elder cheerfully refused the lifespan extension pill, speaking out loud. She was very touched and gratified by Lu Chongqing's thoughtfulness. But in her view, it was a complete waste for her to use such a pill. Now, due to her old age, not only did she struggle to concentrate during talisman making, but she even experienced a trembling hand. It was difficult for her to draw first-grade supreme talismans anymore. Nowadays, she mainly gave guidance to the children and drew some simple, medium-quality talismans. Grandmother, please accept it. Chapter 553. One person completes the journey of several hundred years. Lu Chongqing understood the mindset of such an elder. They were old and didn't want to waste resources. At the same time, cultivators from families like the Lu family often harbored a concept of putting the family first. No matter what Lu Chongqing said, the elder was unwilling to accept the lifespan extension pill. In Lu Chongqing's view, a second-rank lifespan extension pill was merely worth 7,000 or 8,000 spirit stones. He could earn that by making some elixir medicines or crafting some talismans. But to the elder, it was a huge sum of money, and at their age, they felt it wasn't worth spending it on themselves. Yuer, take your great-grandma back. Lu Chongsheng sighed softly, not insisting, and let his children take the fourth elder back. He planned to have his children deliver the lifespan extension pill to the elder later. He could say he had contributed a lot to the Lu family. But to the elder who had always looked after him, he hadn't given back much. That night, the bed gently swayed. Lu Chongsheng and his wives, Lu Miaoyun and Chu Zhenjin, were entwined in intimacy. Afterward, Yuner, you have been working hard managing the household these days. On this trip, I obtained several high-rank breakthrough elixirs. In the time to come, you, Zhenjin, and Huaner should focus on your cultivation and strive to break through the energy refinement late stage. Lu Chongxing cradled his wife, his palm lightly caressing her snow-white skin, as he spoke with a gentle voice. Today, after returning from his foundation establishment, Lu Chongxing noticed that Lu Miaoyun seemed to be weighed down by some worries. As a husband for many years, he naturally understood that his wife was very sensitive and lacked confidence, prone to overthinking. As he was constantly progressing but she was not, it naturally resulted in pressure in her heart. Now that he had broken through to foundation establishment, Lu Miaoyun was initially happy but surely couldn't help but overthink it afterward. Lu Chongxing saw all this. So, at this moment, he began to properly comfort his wife. Husband, there's no need to spend so extravagantly. You just broke through to foundation establishment and need a lot of resources. Plus, there are so many children at home. Lu Miaoyun nestled in Lu Changsheng's arms, her voice weak and delicate. As Lu Chongxing continued to progress, the women by his side became more and more outstanding. As the first official wife, she felt the pressure undeniable. Therefore, she could only maintain her dignity as the leading wife and manage the household affairs for Lu Chongxing as best as she could. Yuner, I have said before, we are husband and wife, and for the rest of our lives, we should advance hand in hand. In this regard, you just listen to me. I will make arrangements for the children. Lu Chongxing embraced his wife, his gentle voice carrying a hint of firmness, leaving no room for doubt. I know, husband. Lu Miaoyun was slightly startled upon hearing this. Then she pursed her moist and lustrous lips, nestling close, her face filled with tender affection. If there's anything, just tell me directly. Don't keep it bottled up inside, he said. Lu Changsheng's palm gently caressed her fair and rosy cheeks. After speaking, he looked at Chu Zhenjin and said, Zhenjin, the same goes for you. Chuanjin and the others are grown up now. You don't need to worry so much and can spend more time on your cultivation. I hope that one day in the future, all of you will be able to break through to foundation establishment and stay by my side. Lu Chongxing spoke warmly. Chu Zhenjin was not as prone to overthinking as Lu Miaoyun, but she truly wasn't very interested in cultivation. She felt that being by Lu Changsheng's side, with their children, was enough to satisfy her. That's why she was still at the 5th level of energy refinement in terms of cultivation level. Lu Chongxing felt that even with a high-grade breakthrough elixir, Chu Zhenjin might not be able to break through the energy refinement late stage. He would only be able to wait until he established his own family lineage before letting her practice the heaven and earth longevity technique. I'll listen to you, husband. Chu Zhenjin obediently nodded, her expression docile. Even after so many years, she still had a somewhat naive personality, like a child that had never grown up. But as she spoke, she began to worry about her children again, especially her son, Lu Chuanjin. To say he was sensible, he was very much so. But in the eyes of his mother, engaging in dangerous activities, and not knowing to come home more often to see her, he was not sensible at all. Whenever she talked about this son, she looked utterly aggrieved. It's good that Chuanjin has his own opinions, and besides, he has me as a father. Lu Chongxing immediately embraced his wife, his voice reassuring. In his heart, he thought of his son, wondering how Lu Chuanjin was doing now after 2 years. As he and his wife continued their conversation, the topic gradually shifted to their children. Those of his children without a spiritual root were sent to the secular world, and many had started their own families. Lu Xianji, who had a spiritual root, was now 19 years old. Lu Miaoyun was preparing to arrange a marriage for him. But because the Lu family had been quite preoccupied recently, and with many matters to attend to, she had been waiting for Lu Chongqing to return before deciding, so nothing was settled yet. Now that Lu Chongqing had returned, Lu Miaoyun brought up this matter, discussing these issues. Thinking about his children growing up one by one, Lu Chongqing felt somewhat overwhelmed. It was a pleasure to marry and have children at the time, but to arrange everything properly for each of them now wasn't a simple task. The night grew deep. Lu Miaoyun and Chu Jinjin fell asleep. Lu Chongqing quietly left the room. He went to Lu Miaohuan's room. Having many wives and concubines was also a worry, but he didn't have to deal with all of them at once. Still, the second mistress with a bit of a tsundere temperament certainly needed to be soothed properly. Huan. As soon as he entered the room, Lu Chongqing could tell from her breathing that Lu Miaohuan was still awake, clearly waiting for him. Lu Miaohuan didn't speak, turning away. Seeing this, Lu Chongqing gave a light chuckle. Having been husband and wife for so many years, he knew well the character of Lu Miaohuan. Chapter 554. One person completes the journey of several hundred years. This was just her way of showing dissatisfaction, a signal that she was upset and wanted to be coaxed. Immediately, Lu Chongqing approached the bed and embraced his petite and curvaceous wife in his arms. Then, he whispered endearing words of affection and longing into her ear. In a short while, the second young lady was coaxed into happiness by Lu Chongqing. Huan, I've prepared a special gift for you this time, said Lu Chongqing softly, holding Lu Miaohuan in his embrace. From the storage bag, he took out exquisite and splendid clothes, elegant and noble dresses, and sexy shoes and stockings. Lu Miaohuan had always liked fashionable and attractive clothing. In Jiuxiao Immortal City, Lu Chongqing passed by a heavenly garments pavilion. He noticed that their vestment robes were designed not for practicality, but for beauty, elegance, and attractiveness. Lu Chongqing knew that Lu Miaohuan would definitely like them. Because of the expensive prices, he couldn't afford to buy a set for every wife and concubine, so he could only choose a few sets for some of his wives. As expected, upon seeing these uniquely crafted dresses and shoes, Lu Miaohuan's eyes shone brightly with surprise and delight. Huan, if you like them, why not try them on now? Lu Chongqing's palm slowly caressed her body as he spoke in a warm tone. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaohuan gave Lu Chongqing a feigned look of annoyance mixed with pleasure with her beautiful eyes. How could she not understand what Lu Chongqing meant? Still, she was very happy inside, because such behavior from Lu Chongqing was a sign of his affection for her, just as always. Then, the two began a playful game of dress-up in the room. Gradually, a sense of spring filled the room, accompanied by whimpers that sounded like complaints and longing, like weeping and entreaty. The next day, news of Lu Chongqing's return after achieving foundation establishment spread throughout Qingzhou Mountain. His foundation establishment, Uncle Chongqing, has actually made a breakthrough to foundation establishment. What? The ninth elder has broken through to foundation establishment. Wasn't Lu Chongqing at the 7th level of energy refinement? How did he manage to break through to foundation establishment? I heard that Brother Chongqing gained an opportunity during his trip, which is why he fortuitously broke through to foundation establishment. Such luck! I'm really envious. You say it's luck, and you actually believe it's just luck? A foundation establishment great cultivator, also a second-rank talisman master. This. Sigh to think I also indulge in eating, drinking, and gambling every day, yet I don't get such an opportunity. Brother Chongqing's talent in the talisman path, once affected by his cultivation level. Now that he's broken through to foundation establishment, he can continue to make progress in the art of talismans. Foundation establishment. I recall he's about 40 years old, right? Inside Qingzhou Mountain, people were buzzing with discussions about the news. Some were joyful, some were moved. Some envied, some felt bitter and jealous. Lu Chongqing's breakthrough to second-grade talisman master had already made many green with envy. Now, that he had suddenly reached foundation establishment naturally upset some people's sense of balance. After all, in many people's eyes, Lu Chongqing didn't usually focus on cultivation, but obsessed over women. Even with such circumstances, it was accepted he had talent in talismans, yet he also had such luck, such an opportunity. However, many were also inspired by his achievement. They felt that as long as they didn't give up and worked hard, they might one day obtain an opportunity to break through foundation establishment themselves. In the cultivation world, stories of underdogs rising up were certainly not scarce. Now that Lu Chongqing had broken through to foundation establishment, to many in the Lu family he was a living example. The immortal seedlings who had arrived at the Lu family with Lu Chongqing, now more than 20 years had passed. Aside from Li Feiyu, none had left. All had become integrated into the Lu family. Hearing this news, some felt as if a lifetime had passed. They remembered that sunset 20 years ago. Some regretted not having fostered a good relationship with Lu Chongqing at the outset. Of course, Lu Chongqing himself knew nothing of these discussions, nor did he care. At this moment, he was taking his wives and concubines on a leisurely outing around Qingzhou Mountain. It's been so long since I've been out, and today my husband actually has time to accompany us on this pastoral jaunt. Chu Zhenjin wore a light pink dress adorned with embroidery of butterflies poised for flight, and draped over it was a layer of white gauze. Inhaling the fresh spring air of the mountain forest, her pretty face was lively and joyful. "It is I who have been too busy to take you out for relaxation and fun," he said. "From now on, I will certainly spend more time with my dear Zhenjin," he promised. Lu Chongqing smiled, speaking in a gentle voice. Lu Miaoyun wore a jade-green dress, her beautiful hair pinned up with a matching green hairpin. Gazing at the surrounding scenery, her elegant and gentle face showed a smile as she held onto Lu Changsheng's wrist, whispering, "Thank you, husband." She knew that Lu Chongqing did it to help her relax and clear her mind, to keep stray thoughts at bay. Cultivators paid great attention to their state of mind. If it was too disturbed and filled with too many stray thoughts, at best it would affect their cultivation efficiency, and at worst it could even give rise to a heart demon, especially when facing a bottleneck. A poor state of mind could lead to failure, even if all the necessary resources were available. "Hee, we are husband and wife. What is there to thank?" Lu Chongqing chuckled. He felt that, if he had time, it would be good to take his wives and concubines out more often to relax, perhaps every few months. "Thank you, husband. You've worked hard, husband." The other ladies also took turns thanking Lu Chongqing. They knew that this outing was just a simple break for them. But for a foundation establishment great cultivator, a second-grade talisman master, to willingly take them out for leisure, they already felt very satisfied and touched. "All right, since we are here to enjoy ourselves, let's relax and be at ease," Lu Chongqing said with a smile, dismissing the formalities with a wave of his hand. During this time, he had not neglected any of his concubines or maids, inquiring about their well-being and the children's matters. These concubines and maids who remained on Qingzhou Mountain had borne him many children. For instance, the first maid he bought from the White Jade Tower, Xiao Yuyao, had given birth to 7 children for him. Among these 7 children, 3 possessed spiritual roots. The youngest son, Lu Qingxian, even had a 4th-grade spiritual root. The maid Jiang Luiyue had borne him 6 children. One of these children had a 6th-grade spiritual root. Therefore, Lu Chongqing planned that once he established his own family, he would hold a grand wedding banquet to formally elevate all these maids to the status of concubines, giving them proper recognition. Thinking about the establishment of his family, Lu Chongqing, after the outing, casually visited the Lu family's spiritual fields, medicine gardens, and pastures. The spiritual rice, spiritual medicine, and spiritual beasts that the Lu family cultivated and raised were all of very low grade. One reason was the absence of inherited knowledge in the cultivation of spiritual plants and the taming of spiritual beasts. Another was the lack of adequate spiritual plant masters and beast tamers. This realization revealed to Lu Chongqing that this would be a problem when his family was established. After all, he had only a limited understanding of the cultivation of spiritual plants, spiritual medicine, and the rearing of spiritual beasts. Among his wives and concubines, not even Lu Miaoyun, Xiao Yuyao, Xiao Yueru, Guan Xian, or Xiao Qing had more than a basic knowledge of spiritual food and plants, their skills limited to simple care of spiritual medicine and herbs and making spiritual meals. Sigh. Lu Chongxing let out a small sigh in his heart. The closer the time came to establish his family, the more he realized that there was more to do and prepare than he had anticipated. He wanted to achieve in one step what other families took decades or even a century to accomplish and realized it would require several times the effort. Chapter 555. Test of Human Nature. Death Flag. _1 by Lake Mountain U Family. Lu Chongxing broke through to foundation establishment? The patriarch of the Yu family received a piece of news, his eyes revealing shock and disbelief. I remember this Lu Chongxing was at the 7th level energy refinement, wasn't he? How did he suddenly break through to foundation establishment? He murmured to himself, his expression grave. Half a year ago, their Yu family had taken action, incessantly harassing Qingzhou Mountain, causing Lu Miaofeng to fail her foundation establishment. Now, this Lu Chongxing had suddenly broken through to foundation establishment. If he hadn't known that such news couldn't possibly be false, he wouldn't believe it at all. If it's true, it would disrupt my Yu family's plans, the Yu family patriarch murmured. He then put the letter away and went to report to the family's elder. Lu Chongxing? That second-grade talisman master from the Lu family has broken through to foundation establishment? Patriarch of the Yu family, Yu Jinyong, frowned upon hearing this news. He hadn't expected that at a time when the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain's fortune had seemingly run out, a Lu Chongxing would suddenly emerge. They had naturally kept an eye on Lu Chongxing, but they had never imagined that Lu Chongxing would break through to foundation establishment. Ning Yuan, don't worry about this matter. Since Lu Chongxing has reached foundation establishment, prepare a generous gift and send it personally, Yu Ninghu said with a light laugh. Big brother, what do you mean by this? Asked the patriarch of the Yu family, puzzled. The incident of interfering with Lu Miaofeng's foundation establishment, even though the Lu family had no evidence, they had a high suspicion it was done by their own family. Under such circumstances, the relationship between the two families had already hit rock bottom. It's just that the Lu family didn't dare to openly break off relations. If Lu Yuanzhong were in good health, he could live another 100 years, and Lu Changsheng's breakthrough to foundation establishment would be great news for the Lu family indeed. But now, with Lu Yuanzhong infected with corpse poison and not much life left, what do you think? Will Lu Chongxing have other ideas once Lu Yuanzhong dies? After all, this Lu Chongxing is not from the main branch of the Lu family. He's an in-law. Yu Ninggu's face showed a smile as he spoke assuredly. Indeed. Yu Jinyong nodded approvingly after hearing his grandson's words. Not only was this grandson talented, but his disposition and handling of affairs also greatly satisfied him. If it weren't for the fear that too many affairs would affect Yu Ninggu's cultivation, he should have been the patriarch of the Yu family. Big brother is wise. The patriarch of the Yu family exclaimed, suddenly understanding the rationale. Even though the Lu family now had Lu Chongxing, a foundation establishment cultivator, to stabilize the situation and boost morale, Lu Yuanzhong's life was drawing to an end. Once Lu Yuanzhong died, within the main branch of the Lu family, there would no longer be a foundation establishment cultivator. As an in-law who had achieved foundation establishment, facing the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain, would he harbor thoughts of taking over? Or perhaps thoughts of establishing his own sect? This would be a tremendous test of human nature. Moreover, he had always paid attention to information regarding Lu Chongxing, the second-rank talisman master. He knew Lu Chongxing had a particular hobby, acquiring wives and concubines, fathering children, with a multitude of wives and offspring numbering in the hundreds. Such a flourishing lineage couldn't be underestimated within the Lu family. When the time comes, once Lu Yuanzhong dies, even if Lu Chongxing were mindful of his ties to the Lu family, not wishing to usurp the leadership, what about his wives and children? With so many offspring, it's impossible for none to have their own ambitions. Once these offspring come of age, they will certainly use their father's connections and authority to vie with the main branch's descendants for resources and power. Over time, This will inevitably cause conflict and lead to a family split. But Big Brother, are we just going to let the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain fall into Lu Changsheng's hands? The patriarch of the Yu family queried his own brother. The Yu family intended to seize the territory of Qingzhou Mountain for themselves, but even if Qingzhou Mountain were to split, the Yu family would find it difficult to profit from this. The Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain and the Bai family at 100 Birds Lake have been allied for generations. If the Lu family splits and Lu Changsheng takes charge, the bond between the Bai and Lu families will also be severed. Moreover, if we can foresee these relations, I imagine the people of the Lu family can as well. Perhaps we don't even have to wait for the day Lu Yuanzhong dies. An estrangement will already have formed between Lu Changsheng's lineage and the main branch of the Lu family, and that will be our opportunity. This Lu Changsheng is also a second-grade talisman master, and I've reviewed his information. He indeed possesses exceptional talent in the talisman path. Now that he has achieved foundation establishment, his future in the talisman path is bound to be limitless. If he's willing to relinquish some benefits, wouldn't it be acceptable for our Yu family to cooperate with him? After all, once the Lu family splits, Lu Changsheng will truly be incapable of controlling Qingzhou Mountain's industries, veins, and resources. Our family could offer assistance in managing these, Yu Ninghu stated with a faint smile on his face. Ninghu makes sense. Ning Yuan, pass the word. Our Yu family members can try to build connections with Lu Changsheng's offspring. That way, once Lu Changsheng takes power, our family can also act through his offspring, the patriarch of the Yu family said after listening. Yes, elder. Yu Ningyuan, who was able to become the patriarch of the Yu family, was naturally no fool. Hearing his brother and elder's words, he had fully grasped the intricacies and knew how to proceed. At present, the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain could be distinctly divided into two branches. When dealing with people from these two branches, their Yu family could suppress one and side with the other, not only escalating the tension but also preparing for the future. Elder, there's a serious problem with this Lu Changsheng. After Yu Ningyuan had left, Yu Ninghu turned to his family elder and spoke. I've looked at his records before. His cultivation was supposed to be at the 7th level energy refinement. Even with concealing his strength and a breakthrough, he should have been at the 8th level energy refinement at most. It's absolutely impossible for him to break through directly to foundation establishment. Besides, I remember this Lu Changsheng possesses a low-grade spiritual root, and only after being eliminated by the Qingyun sect did he become a son-in-law to the Lu family. Chapter 556. Test of Human Nature. Death Flag. It's only because he has an exceptional talent in the talisman path that he was favored by the Lu family, slowly rising to become their son-in-law. Despite being just an unwanted son-in-law with a lower-grade spiritual root, even if his talent in the talisman path is extraordinary, his cultivation resources are limited. It's impossible for him to reach the 9th level energy refinement in just 20 years. So there must be a huge problem. He must have encountered some great fortune. Yu Ninggu's expression was solemn as he spoke. When Lu Changsheng became a second-grade talisman master, he had been paying attention and had investigated Lu Changsheng's background. He felt that this person was problematic. Now seeing Lu Changsheng's breakthrough to foundation establishment, he could almost confirm that there was a big issue with Lu Changsheng. Exactly. Back then, the Lu family joined forces with the Bai family to attack the Chun family of Red Leaf Valley. The reason Red Leaf Valley fell so swiftly, annihilated, was precisely because a guest elder of the Chen family betrayed them at that time. And this guest elder has a significant relationship with Lu Changsheng. So this Lu Changsheng is definitely not simple. Yu Jinyang nodded in agreement and spoke out. In his words, a trace of murderous intent flickered in his eyes. He contemplated whether to find an opportunity to eliminate Lu Changsheng. Otherwise, letting such a person continue to grow was indeed worrisome to him. Elder, we must not. Lu Changsheng's sudden breakthrough to foundation establishment must be due to some unknown secret. He has been hiding his clumsiness all this time. No one knows how much he has hidden. This trip outside might have been precisely for a covert breakthrough to foundation establishment. Moreover, this person is also a second-grade talisman master. He must have many life-saving talismans in hand. Yu Ninghu saw the murderous intent of their family elder and slightly shook his head. To him, Lu Changsheng's ability to break through to Foundation establishment must be due to a great opportunity. It was even possible that he had obtained a rare legacy. Under such circumstances, it was too risky for his family to rashly attack the other party. If they failed to kill him, it would bring lots of trouble. I naturally understand, the elder said. But we still need to keep a close watch on this Lu Changsheng. This young man's growth is indeed somewhat demonic. A son-in-law with a lower-grade spiritual root to break through to Foundation establishment in just over 20 years? Yu Jinyang said in a deep voice. 100 Birds Lake, by family. Lu Changsheng has broken through Foundation establishment? The Bai family head squinted his eyes as he read the letter in his hand. However, this event is also a good thing for our Bai family. Feifei has already borne a child for Lu Changsheng. If this child has a spiritual root, and the spiritual root talent is not bad, our Bai family's relationship with Lu Changsheng can be further strengthened. The Bai family head muttered to himself as he looked at the letter in his hand. He then proceeded to the lakeside courtyard. What is it? From inside the secret chamber of the courtyard, a deep and robust voice asked. Brother Yang, just now Feifei sent a letter, saying that Lu Changsheng of Qingzhou Mountain had returned from his outside breakthrough to Foundation establishment. The Bai family head spoke out, addressing the family's newly advanced elder. Lu Changsheng? That man has actually broken through Foundation establishment? I felt there was something unusual about that person, and now it seems he is truly extraordinary. A man in his 30s, tall and wearing a black robe embroidered with flying birds, stepped out of the small courtyard. He was the Bai family's newly advanced elder, Bai Yunyang. Oh, Brother Yang, you've met this Lu Changsheng before? The Bai family head asked, somewhat surprised. Back when the family wanted me to marry Lu Miaoga, I met him several times in Nine Dragons Market and paid some attention to him, Bai Yunyang replied. At that time, knowing that the head of the Lu family was nearing the end of his life and both families needed to maintain their relationship, the Bai family hoped he would marry Lu Miaoga. Lu Miaoga not only had a 5th-grade spiritual root, she was also an upper-class talisman master at a young age. If he could marry her, it would not only be beneficial to the family but also to him. Unfortunately, Lu Miaoga had expressed that she was devoted to cultivation and had no such intentions, so he had to leave empty-handed. Later, when he found out that Lu Miaoga married Lu Changsheng, he paid some attention to Lu Changsheng. He believed that if Lu Miaoga was willing to marry Lu Changsheng, this man must be extraordinary. I see. I hadn't expected that you and this Lu Changsheng were once love rivals, Brother Yang. The Bai family head and Bai Yunyang had grown up together. So even with the latter becoming the family elder, they could still joke around. Ha! It's hardly a matter of being love rivals. After all, I never competed with him for anything, Bai Yunyang said calmly. Indeed, he had once been captivated by Lu Miaoga, but he was not so infatuated with a woman that he would keep thinking about her incessantly. Since this Lu Changsheng has broken through Foundation establishment, our Bai family should still prepare a gift. Moreover, now that Feifei has married Lu Changsheng as a concubine and has given birth to a child, when you go there, you can talk with Feifei and see her opinion of Lu Changsheng. After all, after the battle at Blackwater Pool, the Lu family's patriarch Yuanzhong suffered severe injuries and his current condition is not good. It's uncertain how long he can live, Bai Yunyang said softly. Yes, the Bai family head picked up on the hidden meaning in the elder's words. Wugong Ridge, Zhang family. Lu Changsheng has broken through to Foundation establishment. It seems it was not in vain that our family's elder humbled himself to give away Xiao Wan as a concubine to this Lu Changsheng. The Zhang family's elder mumbled to himself upon receiving the news. Now that Lu Changsheng has made a breakthrough, perhaps I can use this Lu Changsheng and the Lu and Bai families to stir things up. He was aware that his family had long been infiltrated by the Yu family. But the most depressing thing for a family is to have no successor to carry on the legacy. Like the Lu and Bai families, even if something happens to the elder, at least there are younger members who can try for Foundation establishment. But his Zhang family, the old are too old, the young too young. There's not a single promising seed in their midst capable of challenging foundation establishment. What a sad state of affairs. Moreover, the Zheng family's elder even suspected that some of the family's former seeds might have fallen victim to the Yu family's schemes. Chapter 557. Test of Human Nature. Death Flag. But even with doubts and knowledge, it was useless. He was old. He didn't dare to fight anymore. He couldn't win. Now, he could only live in miserable comfort under the protection of the Yu family. At least after his death, the family spirit land could ostensibly be preserved. If the younger generation proved capable and one of them achieved foundation establishment, perhaps they could wrest back control of Wugong Ridge from the Yu family. Not only the Yu family, but the Bai family and the Zheng family as well. Many of the smaller family powers in the vicinity received information about the Lu family, about Lu Chongqing. What a pity that the Lu family doesn't celebrate the foundation establishment ceremony. Otherwise, I would have offered my daughter as a concubine to Lu Chongqing. Humph, your daughter may possess a 6th grade spiritual root. But with such plain looks, would Lu the master even spare her a glance? Foundation establishment great cultivator, 2nd grade talisman master. I must find out which child of Lu the master is favored. There might be a chance to foster good relations through that connection. Upon hearing about Lu Changsheng's breakthrough in foundation establishment, these people immediately thought of offering their daughters. After all, those families who had previously given their daughters as concubines or maids to this Master Lu now all had offspring. If the offspring possessed spiritual root talent and the future looked promising, it wouldn't be necessary for them to do anything for their maternal home. Just this connection alone would be enough to bring them many benefits. Lu Chongqing was unaware of these external affairs. In the last few days, he had been at home accompanying his wives and concubines, concerned about the well-being of his children. Of course, he hadn't forgotten the little girl Bai Ling either. About Bai Ling's situation, he had gathered some information in Zhuxiao Immortal City. It was much as he had suspected. There was a high probability that her ancestors carried the bloodline of the demon race. Now, a reversion to ancestral traits was occurring. But based on the state of Bai Ling's scales, Lu Chongqing was unable to determine exactly which demon race bloodline was reverting. He could only guess that it was a snake demon bloodline. Brother, Bai Ling was still as affectionate and sweet-voiced when facing Lu Chongqing. If Chu Zhenshin's personality was like that of a child who never grew up, then Bai Ling was even more so, her nature incredibly simple and pure. Linger. Lu Chongqing naturally pulled her into his embrace, kissed her porcelain forehead, and then gently ruffled her little head. Over a year had passed, and though the little girl hadn't grown much taller, her figure had become increasingly exquisite and attractive, with curves that were alluring, especially the slim waist of the young girl. She perfectly embodied the concept of a water serpent waist. Does Linger have something she wants to say? Lu Chongqing chatted casually with Bai Ling, caring about her situation. Seeing Bai Ling hesitate to speak, her face blushing, he asked, "Brother, Linger is 18 years old now. Brother once said, when I turned 18 I could marry brother." Bai Ling clasped her white dress, lifted her beautiful head slightly, lightly bit her moist cherry lips, and with a pair of watery eyes full of hope, she looked at Lu Chongqing with a timid expression. From the moment Lu Chongqing took her home, she had been smitten with him. But she was too young then to understand all of this. When she reached 14 or 15, she gradually came to understand. She started to anticipate furthering her relationship with Lu Chongqing, hoping to bear Lu Chongqing children, just like the sisters in the house. But Lu Chongqing had never broached the subject. Finally, she mustered the courage to ask brother if he liked her. Lu Chongqing, seeing Bai Ling in such a state, knew she was experiencing the first stirrings of love, so he said to wait until she was a little older, after she turned 18. This promise had Bai Ling eagerly looking forward to the day, waiting for it. A few days ago, when Lu Chongqing returned, she was filled with joy and anticipation, but brother had not brought it up, had not initiated the conversation. So, after much thinking and restless nights, she finally decided to take the initiative and gather her courage. When Lu Chongqing heard this, he too remembered that it had been 7 years since Head brought Bai Ling home. Because she was so young at the time, and considering her physical condition, had always kept her at his side, which led him to feel almost as if he were raising a daughter. Hee. It seems Linger can't wait any longer. Lu Chongqing looked at the shy, pitiable girl before him, who nearly cried out in her eagerness to speak, and laughed as he said. He pinched her delicate and flawlessly smooth, beautiful face. In the 7 years that had passed, the little girl had become a woman who could cause the downfall of a state. Even among his harem, there were few who could rival the beauty of Bai Ling, this little girl. Her delicate and pure face was naturally gorgeous, conveying an ethereal, untainted innocence that seemed removed from the mortal world. Her large, clear eyes were like peach blossoms, misted with dew, appearing enchanting and seductive, captivating the heart. An innocent and enchanting face, an exquisitely curvaceous figure, a moving, endearing, coy demeanor. All these qualities in one person made every move, every smile, deeply stirring. Lu Chongqing felt that only a man like himself could remain unmoved by Ling's charm. Looking at the girl's blushing face, with eyes like silk and peach blossom-like duet eyes, Lu Chongqing chuckled and said, Linger, wait for brother to finish his current matters, then he'll marry you, all right? As soon as he spoke, he was slightly taken aback. He felt as if his words were like establishing a flag for impending death. Bai Ling, hearing this, immediately nodded vigorously, her face alight with happiness. Chapter 558. Demon Race Cultivation Technique. Heading to Green River District, extra for 1,000 monthly votes. _1 Z Xiao. Can you check on Bai Ling's condition? After chatting with Bai Ling for a while, Lu Chongqing thought of her situation and called Ling Zixiao over. Having spent so much time together, he knew that Ling Zixiao's knowledge was broader than his own. She might be able to discern Bai Ling's condition and identify what demon race bloodline she had. Big brother. Seeing that Ling Zixiao was about to check her, Bai Ling, with a timid and weak face, clung to Lu Changsheng's arm. After so many years, she still didn't dare to let anyone other than Lu Chongqing see her scales. It was only after getting close to people like Lu Miaoyun and Chu Jinjin that she felt a bit better. But she was still very sensitive about this matter. Now, seeing Lu Chongqing asking Ling Zixiao to check on her, she thought there was something wrong with her body that made Lu Chongqing unhappy. It's okay, little Linger. Sister Zixiao isn't a bad person. She's just taking a look, Lu Chongqing said gently, rubbing her head. Then he lifted her wrist, covered in scales, to his lips and kissed it. Her scales, perfectly fused with her fair and delicate skin, were crystal clear, cold to the touch, and not at all disgusting. In Lu Changsheng's eyes, it even had a kind of demonically charming beauty. Comforted by Lu Chongqing like this, Bai Ling's pure and charming little face immediately showed happiness and shyness. What she feared most was Lu Changsheng's disgust or aversion to her. This man really is... Ling Zixiao sighed softly to herself, seeing Lu Changsheng's actions and Bai Ling's dependency on him. She could only say that against a man like Lu Chongqing, innocent girls like Bai Ling had no resistance. Even if Lu Chongqing sold her, she would probably help him count the money. She then began to examine Bai Ling, using her mana and divine sense to check her physical condition. A moment later, Ling Zixiao furrowed her brow slightly and, after a moment of contemplation, said to Lu Chongqing, "It should be that she has some demon race bloodline, leading to bloodline reversion. But it's also possible that when her bloodline awakened, there was a mutation. As for what demon race bloodline it is, I'm not sure. However, this bloodline is not simple," Ling Zixiao said. Although she couldn't determine Bai Ling's exact situation, based on Lu Changsheng's description, she could sense that Bai Ling was extraordinary. The bloodline in her body might be that of a rare demon race, or it might be a powerful mutated bloodline. Otherwise, a human who had undergone bloodline reversion and awakened to a demon race bloodline couldn't possibly make such rapid progress with an ordinary cultivation method. She couldn't help but admire Lu Changsheng's good fortune and opportunities. Lu Chongqing nodded slightly upon hearing this. "My lord, Bai Ling likely has some kind of serpent bloodline. If she were given a serpent or demon cultivation method, Her bloodline might be able to reveal some of its potential. Even her cultivation speed might become faster, Ling Zixiao continued. Demon beasts cultivate instinctively through their bloodlines. But when a demon beast reaches second rank, it gains a certain level of intelligence. Some demon beasts, through bloodline inheritance, receive the fundamental methods of cultivation, such as refining flesh and blood, absorbing nature's spiritual energy, and the essence of the sun and moon. If a demon beast reaches third rank, it is essentially no different from a human cultivator, capable of practicing cultivation methods and innate divine abilities. Therefore, the demon race also has its cultivation methods. However, the cultivation methods of the demon race and the human race are not compatible, and they generally cannot cultivate each other's techniques. But for someone like Bai Ling, who has experienced bloodline reversion and awakened a demon race bloodline, she might be more compatible with some demon cultivation methods. A demon race cultivation method? Faster cultivation? Lu Changsheng's eyebrows raised when he heard this. In his view, Bai Ling's current cultivation speed was already astonishing. In 6 years, she had reached the 6th level of energy refinement. He estimated that in another year, she would be able to break through to the 7th level of energy refinement. And these years, he had only given her some spirit stones. He hadn't given her any elixir medicines. If cultivating a demon race method could make Bai Ling's progress even faster, that would be amazing. However, he had only ever heard of demon race cultivation methods. He had never seen any in the marketplace. Indeed, I once heard a rumor about a nascent soul immortal with the Silver Moon Heavenly Wolf bloodline, Ling Zixiao said, shaking her head. At first, she cultivated with human race methods and made slow progress. But then she accidentally obtained a demon race heritage, which unlocked the potential of her Silver Moon Heavenly Wolf bloodline, leading to rapid improvement in her cultivation level, achieving core formation, and possessing astonishing combat strength. However, I've only heard about this and don't know the details. As for demon race cultivation methods, indeed, they are rarely circulated outside, and this kind of method is generally only mastered by a third-rank demon king. Lu Chongqing nodded thoughtfully. He pondered whether his system lottery could draw a demon race cultivation method. He vaguely remembered that when he had 50 offspring, he received a chance for a specific lottery draw. Many names of cultivation methods appeared then. It seemed there were names that looked like they were for demon race cultivation. Never mind, it's not urgent, he thought. Besides, even if there are demon race cultivation methods, they may not necessarily be suitable for Bai Ling. Moreover, given Bai Ling's situation, even if she becomes powerful, it's unlikely that she could fight against others. Lu Chongqing gently shook his head. He felt that with Bai Ling's circumstances, she'd better live a carefree life at home, peacefully. As for her cultivation, it was already pretty good now. So, the demon race cultivation methods weren't a priority. While the three of them were talking, a maid informed Lu Chongqing that Lu Yuanding and the family head Lu Miaochong had arrived. Okay. Hearing this, Lu Chongqing nodded and headed toward the main hall. Chapter 559, Demon Race Cultivation Technique, heading to Green River District extra for 1,000 monthly votes. Knowing that these two generally sought him out for serious matters, Lu Chongqing was certain something important was at hand. Chongqing, Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochong, who had been waiting in the hall, stood up and greeted him immediately upon seeing Lu Changsheng's arrival. Their manners were obviously much more courteous than usual. Father-in-law, family head. Have you come because there is something you need? Lu Chongqing asked. He had no idea what matter they would need to discuss with him today, having just spoken with them yesterday. Right away, Lu Miaochong indicated that although the foundation establishment ceremony would not be held, they would still celebrate it within the family. Additionally, several familiar families would send representatives to offer their congratulations. Moreover, in the cultivation world, the advanced are honored first. Among the immortal sects, once someone makes a major breakthrough in their realm, their generational status is automatically elevated. This was the same for the cultivating families of Qingzhou Mountain. As long as one broke through to foundation establishment, they would be promoted to the status of family ancestor. This was a matter of identity and status. This way, No one in the family would disrespect a foundation establishment great cultivator by pulling rank due to age. Now that Lu Chongqing had broken through foundation establishment, he should be promoted to the status of family ancestor. Therefore, during the family celebration, a ceremony would be held to formally announce Lu Chongqing as the Lu family ancestor. As for the matter of foundation establishment, isn't it enough that everyone knows about it? There's no need for the title of ancestor. Lu Chongqing spoke with a slight frown upon hearing this. He was not eager to carry the title of Lu family ancestor of Qingzhou Mountain. Bearing this title, he felt it would be extremely awkward to face his wife, Lu Yuanding, the fourth elder, and others in the future. Moreover, since he had already begun preparations to establish his own family, what need was there to take on the title of Lu family ancestor? Chongqing. This is the rule of our Qingzhou Mountain. Now that you have ascended to foundation establishment, you should rightfully become the family ancestor. Lu Yuanding tried to persuade Lu Chongqing. Now that Lu Chongqing had broken through to foundation establishment, they naturally had to give him the treatment he deserved. Father-in-law, the title of ancestor really isn't necessary. To me, knowing about the foundation establishment is enough. There's no need for any ceremony. You know I've never liked trouble. Lu Chongqing spoke firmly. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuanding pondered for a moment before saying, "If that's the case, how about you take on the position of the great elder of the family?" The powers of the great elder of the Lu family were immense, responsible for the family's finances and assisting the family head in managing family affairs. Seeing that Lu Chongqing was still going to refuse, Lu Yuanding immediately spoke solemnly, expressing that now Lu Chongqing had broken through foundation establishment to become a foundation establishment great cultivator. The family naturally had to give him the suitable recognition. Otherwise, it would appear that their Lu family could not accommodate talented individuals. As for the duties of the great elder, if Lu Chongqing was unwilling to manage affairs, he could simply hold the title as the current ninth elder did. Since his father-in-law had spoken to this extent, Lu Chongqing could only agree. He was well aware that the current state of the Lu family meant they couldn't provide much in terms of benefits and treatment. Therefore, they had to give him enough respect in terms of titles. Though Lu Chongqing didn't mind these things, it was good that the Lu family itself had this awareness and attitude. All right, let's do as you say, father-in-law. As for the duties, let's just keep things as they are. You know, I usually don't like to manage affairs. Lu Chongqing spoke. Good. Lu Yuanding showed a slight smile and nodded upon hearing this. He knew in his heart that even though he had offered Lu Chongqing the title of Great Elder, Lu Chongqing was definitely not keen on managing affairs or getting involved in family business. Afterward, Lu Yuanding informed Lu Chongqing that a cave dwelling had been prepared for him in the family's core area. If Lu Chongqing wanted to cultivate on a daily basis, he could use this place for his cultivation. Moreover, considering Ling Zixio's situation and out of respect for Lu Chongqing, the Lu family had also prepared a dwelling for Ling Zixio. Such dwellings were located around the spiritual focal points of the spirit veins on Qingzhou Mountain, where the spiritual energy was incredibly dense. Shortly after, Lu Yuanding took Lu Chongqing to see the cave dwelling. Lu Chongqing briefly checked it out. The spiritual energy was indeed very dense. Even though it wasn't as good as the A-ranked cave dwelling he used in the Qingyun market when he broke through to foundation establishment, it was still much richer in spiritual energy than his current residence. Thank you, father-in-law. Lu Chongqing expressed his gratitude aloud. This is what the family should do. Chongqing, right now the family's situation is such that we indeed cannot provide you with much in the way of resources. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuanding sighed slightly and said to Lu Chongqing, Father-in-law, I understand. Don't worry, things will get better slowly. After so many years together, Lu Chongqing knew what kind of person his father-in-law, Lu Yuanding, was. The man wasn't trying to play the victim in saying this. It was an expression of helplessness. Over the past few days, Lu Chongqing had come to roughly understand the Lu family's situation. The family savings had been nearly spent in the attempt to support Lu Miaofeng's breakthrough to foundation establishment. Moreover, due to Lu Yuanhong's health, the family had scaled back many of their businesses, leading to reduced family income. The current situation was indeed not so great. I'm sorry for the hardship, Changsheng. Lu Yuanding sighed again deeply and patted Lu Changsheng on the shoulder as he spoke. No matter, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility, Lu Changsheng said with a smile. During their casual conversation, Lu Yuanding asked Lu Changsheng when he planned to head to Green River Marketplace. Father-in-law, am planning to go there tomorrow, Lu Changsheng said. He had decided long ago to stay at home for 3 days before heading to Green River Marketplace to pick up Lu Miaoge and the children. It was also a good opportunity to see Xiao Xia. Having not seen each other for over a year, now that he was back, it was naturally time to meet. He could also inquire about the value of the Qingyun Sect token he had obtained from Qiyun True Immortal. Good. Be careful on the road when you go. Lu Yuanding nodded and responded after hearing the plan. He also suggested that Lu Changsheng could conceal his identity when leaving. Following the incident with Lu Miaofeng, Lu Yuanding was somewhat worried that other family forces might harm Lu Changsheng. Chapter 560. Demon Race Cultivation Technique. Heading to Green River District, extra for 1,000 monthly votes. Father-in-law, rest assured. Lu Changsheng nodded upon hearing this. Then he briefly practiced cultivation in his cave dwelling. When he returned home, he learned that his son, Lu Xianji, and daughter, Lu Rui, had returned from the Red Leaf Valley Market. The two children were no longer young. Having broken through to the 4th level of energy refinement, he had arranged for them to manage a shop in the Red Leaf Valley Market. Upon hearing of their return, he immediately had someone call his son and daughter over. Son pays respect to father. Congratulations on achieving foundation establishment, great cultivator. Daughter pays respect to daddy. Congratulations on achieving foundation establishment, great cultivator. The siblings came to the hall, greeted Lu Changsheng respectfully, and bowed. They were baffled when they received the news that their father had returned from his trip having achieved foundation establishment. After organizing and handling their affairs, they rushed back home. Sit. Lu Changsheng nodded slightly as he looked at his children before him. He inquired about how they had been living in the Red Leaf Valley Market over the past year. I am incompetent. Lu Xianji, feeling somewhat embarrassed, scratched his head and reported to Lu Changsheng. He was only a low-grade puppet master, and the shop couldn't make any money. He could only sell some simple puppet toys or provide maintenance services for others. The entire shop's profit depended on the spirit talisman materials purchased from the Peace Talisman Hall and the Lu family spiritual talisman shop. But in the aspect of spirit talismans, due to the lack of a well-known brand and popularity, business was quite average. So, over the past year, the shop hadn't made much profit in spirit stones. If they included the cost of the storefront, the two had been operating at a loss for the year. Hee. Lu Changsheng smiled and shook his head upon hearing this. He could understand this situation. In the cultivation world, without a brand reputation or core competitiveness in the market, it would be impossible to make money. When he originally took over the shop, he never expected Lu Xianji to make money from it. After all, being a puppet master was all about earning meager profits. And with Lu Xianzi's entry-level puppetry skills, he couldn't really make much money. It's all right, I never expected you to make any money. I only wanted you to gain more experiences, to toughen up. If you're willing, you can keep running the shop. If you're unwilling to manage it, then stay home and practice cultivation, delve into puppetry, talismans, spirit plants, or spiritual medicine. Lu Changsheng said aloud. His thoughts on his children were straightforward. If they had a talent for cultivation, focus on practicing. If not, take the path of business management or craftsmanship. If all else fails, simply live at home idly and continue the family lineage. Father, let Sister Rui manage the shop. It can still make some money. I will focus on studying puppetry at home. Lu Xianji spoke up. He knew that with his 9th grade spiritual root, his practice progressed slowly. Therefore, he had no expectations for remarkable achievements in cultivation and planned to focus more on puppetry. Although Lu Changsheng considered puppetry to be a mere sweatshop, in Lu Xianzi's eyes, it was still a decent craft. Rui, what do you think? Lu Changsheng nodded and looked towards his daughter, Lu Rui. daughter will follow daddy's arrangements. Lu Rui said crisply. All right, then that's settled. You will be in charge of managing the shop at Red Leaf Valley Market. Xianji, if you have any problems with puppetry, you can come directly to me. Lu Chongqing nodded. Then, he let his children go back to rest well. After spending 3 days with his wives and children at home, Lu Chongqing was ready to go to Green River Marketplace to bring Lu Miaoge back home. Xiao, I am going out for a bit. These days you can relax at home. This is the technique of talisman formation. You can take a look at it by yourself first. If there's anything you don't understand, I will teach you when I return. Keep these talismans. They can be used for self-defense or for practicing talisman formation. Lu Chongqing arrived at Ling Zixio's courtyard, took out a jade slip and 2 stacks of talismans, and said to her, in the past few days, he had mostly been accompanying his wives and children. Ling Zixiao didn't enjoy the bustle much. Most of the time, she would be in the yard reading or studying formations alone. Thus, Lu Chongqing imprinted some techniques of talisman formation and spiritual patterns from the 99 mystical talisman scripture for her to while away the time. Thank you, my lord. My lord, please be careful on your journey. Ling Zixiao received the jade slip and talismans. Her refined face showed a faint smile as she nodded gently. When Miaoge comes back, there is hope for resolving your dragon roar physique. Lu Chongqing smiled at Ling Zixiao and said, as long as Lu Miaoge successfully cultivates the water of virtue technique, Ling Zixio's aftereffects of the dragon roar physique might be addressed and recovered. Lu Miaoge. Ling Zixiao was slightly surprised upon hearing this. She knew that Lu Miaoge was the legitimate daughter of the Lu family and Lu Changsheng's wife. But as far as she knew, Lu Miaoge was only a 9th-level energy refinement cultivator. How could she possibly have a way to resolve her dragon roar physique? However, since Lu Chongqing said so, she still held a bit of trust in his words. She became curious about this Lu Miaoge in her heart. Because in the past few days, she had observed that Lu Changsheng's other wives were quite ordinary. To put it bluntly, calling them vases wouldn't be an exaggeration. Only Lu Miaoge, with her 9th-level cultivation and status as a top-level talisman master, was relatively outstanding. Lu Chongqing also clearly cared more for this wife. All right. Ling Zixiao smiled gently, her face beautiful and demeanor dignified. After briefly saying goodbye to Ling Zixiao, Lu Chongqing left Qingzhou Mountain, commandeered a purple flying shuttle, and headed for Green River Marketplace. This purple flying shuttle was acquired from 5 robber cultivators he had encountered at Zhouxiao Immortal City. For traveling purposes, its speed was about half faster than a spirit boat. Normally, it would take almost half a month to go from Qingzhou Mountain to Green River Marketplace. By riding this flying shuttle, he estimated it would take around 10 days to arrive. Chapter 561. Husband is not gifted. It's the perfect foundation base. _ 10 days later. Green River Marketplace. A handsome young man with a tall stature, dressed in a green robe, controlled a purple flying shuttle, and descended outside the marketplace. Many cultivators around him sensed the emanation of Foundation establishment spirit pressure and hastened to make way, their faces showing respect and awe. Lu Chongqing paid no attention to the behavior of the people around him and stored the flying shuttle away. From his storage bag, he took out a yin-yang sensing talisman and sent a message to Lu Miaoge and Xiao Xia. Currently, both women were in the marketplace. It would have been awkward had he only looked for one, in case they were chatting together. So he decided to send a message to both and meet them together. Not much later, a woman wearing a snow-white dress, her beautiful face clear and lovely, her figure graceful, and her temperament gentle like water, walked out of Green River Marketplace. Chongqing. She searched with her beautiful eyes, and upon seeing Lu Chongqing, her face revealed an excited and joyful expression. She ran forward and embraced Lu Chongqing tightly, inhaling the familiar scent. Sister Miaoge, I'm sorry for making you worry. Lu Chongqing felt the warmth of his wife's embrace softening his heart. He knew his delayed return from this trip had caused Lu Miaoge much concern. That's why she was so emotionally excited upon seeing him. Under normal circumstances, Lu Miaoge wouldn't have reacted so extremely. After embracing for a moment, Lu Miaoge let go of Lu Changsheng, feeling a bit embarrassed for acting like this in public. However, she had been worried about Lu Changsheng's safety all this time. Changsheng, your magic aura? Upon letting go of Lu Changsheng, Lu Miaoge's emotions stabilized slightly, and immediately, she sensed an almost imperceptible spirit pressure coming from him. She had felt this kind of spirit pressure from Lu Yuanzhong and Xiao Xia. It was the pressure of foundation establishment. Now, feeling this magic aura from Lu Changsheng, her beautiful eyes showed surprise, amazement, and delight. That's right, Sister Miaoge. I have made a breakthrough in foundation establishment. Lu Changsheng, looking into his wife's astonished and delighted eyes, smiled gently. The thing he most wanted to let Lu Miaoge know upon returning home was that he had achieved foundation establishment. It wasn't to show off. For years, Lu Miaoge had always been encouraging him, supporting him, urging him to cultivate diligently, to strive and someday achieve foundation establishment. Although he often took her encouragement and motivation lightly, he remembered all of it in his heart. So, he wanted to tell Lu Miaoge that he didn't let down her expectations, her love. The promise he once made, that both of them could achieve foundation establishment one day, was not just joking, just to make her happy. Foundation establishment. Foundation establishment. Changsheng, you have achieved foundation establishment. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaoge was moved to tears. Her joyful eyes turned slightly red, and her voice choked up. Sister Miaoge. Lu Changsheng looked surprised. He had not expected his achievement in foundation establishment to impact Lu Miaoge so profoundly, making her reveal such emotions, and his heart ached slightly. He had kept too much from her. I just knew it, Changsheng, that you would definitely be able to achieve foundation establishment. This trip must have been very dangerous. Lu Miaoge raised her beautiful head slightly, her eyes brimming with tenderness, and her delicate hand caressed Lu Changsheng's cheek with a voice soft as water. Before Lu Changsheng left, he had said he would bring her a surprise upon his return. Now, seeing Lu Changsheng's breakthrough in foundation establishment, she thought this was the surprise he had mentioned. But to her, foundation establishment was fraught with peril. Even if Lu Changsheng had a great opportunity, it was still very dangerous for him to go out alone to try foundation establishment. It wasn't dangerous, not dangerous at all. I worried you, Sister Miaoge. Lu Changsheng gently wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, sighing slightly in his heart. He felt he really owed Lu Miaoge an apology for always keeping her in the dark and worrying about him. I'm happy. I just knew that you could do it. You could definitely do it. Lu Miaoge, afraid she was dreaming, embraced Lu Changsheng again, feeling her husband's warmth and familiar breath. Now, not only had her husband returned safely, but he had also achieved the foundation establishment stage she had longed for and had striven for in her dreams, making it all seem unreal. Sigh. Lu Changsheng sighed inwardly. The more Lu Miaoge acted like this, the more guilty he felt. In her mind, his trip for foundation establishment may have seemed filled with immense danger. After all, not long ago, Lu Miaofeng had failed at foundation establishment, and Lu Miaoge herself was facing the daunting obstacle of foundation establishment, aware of its difficulties. Yet, in reality, he had achieved foundation establishment long ago, and this trip was merely for shopping. After a while, Lu Miaoge finally released Lu Changsheng again. Changsheng, I overreacted a little. Even though I believed you would achieve foundation establishment, I was still somewhat in disbelief. Lu Miaoge spoke, her face joyful and tender like snow and water, her smile radiant. Her beautiful eyes sparkled with soft ripples, filled with tender affection. The look of someone in love. Incomparable. Didn't you say that I could definitely do it? Lu Changsheng held his wife's hand, feeling tenderness in his heart. Sister Miaoge, I told you before, not only would I be able to achieve foundation establishment in the future, but both of us will achieve it. Let's go inside first. I have a surprise for you later. Lu Changsheng held Lu Miaoge's hand and spoke with a smile. A surprise. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaoge's joyful eyes sparkled with curiosity, as she entered the marketplace with Lu Chongsheng. "That's right, you'll know in a bit." Lu Chongsheng nodded his head. He anticipated the moment he would give the cultivation technique, foundation establishment elixir, and foundation establishment spirit objects to Lu Miaoge, looking forward to her happy reaction. Chapter 562. Husband is not gifted. It's the perfect foundation base. Chongsheng, I have something to tell you as well. Lu Miaoge thought of Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzu's affairs and spoke to Lu Chongsheng. "Oh, what is it?" Lu Chongsheng held Lu Miaoge's delicate and boneless slender hand. The two walked along the marketplace street, looking every bit the perfect match. "When I brought the children to Green River Marketplace, during a rest on the way, the earth spirit mouse you gave to Qingzhu detected treasures nearby." Lu Miaoge spoke and narrated the affairs of Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu. In her view, the children being accepted as disciples by a nascent soul immortal was a great matter, a grand opportunity. But seeing Lu Changsheng's return from foundation establishment and thinking of the children leaving to become disciples without even getting a chance to see him, she felt a sense of loss and melancholy. Yu country, Jinyang sect, Tianyuan true immortal. When Lu Chongsheng heard this, his brows knitted slightly. He hadn't expected that his son Lu Qingshan would be taken as a disciple by a nascent soul immortal. Others might not know that Lu Qingshan possessed a Gengjin body constitution, but as his father, he was well aware. Therefore, he always had high expectations for this son. He had been instilling some principles of the sword Dao in Lu Qingshan, considering teaching him the Venus solar sword technique, once he began his cultivation training and grooming him properly. But now, his son had been taken away by a nascent soul immortal to be made a disciple. Not only his son Lu Qingshan but also his daughter Lu Qingzhu had been taken away as disciples. Lu Qingzhu was Lu Miaoge's daughter. So through love for the mother, he was likewise very fond of this daughter and often kept her by his side. But now, he hadn't even had the chance to see these children before they were taken away by a nascent soul immortal. Moreover, this nascent soul immortal came from Yu country's Jinyang sect, not from Jiang country. It would be very troublesome for him to visit his children in the Yu country's Jinyang sect. There was no way to visit his children anytime soon. Sigh. Lu Chongsheng let out a soft sigh in his heart. To Lu Miaoge, her children becoming disciples of a nascent soul might naturally be seen as a great matter, a grand opportunity. But in his view, it could only be considered moderate. After all, with the system and orthodox level cultivation technique inheritance, he was confident that the children he would teach wouldn't be inferior. Regardless, it was not his place to say anything about the matter, because if there was anyone to blame, it would be himself. Not only was there a delay in returning from his trip, but the cause of the events was also related to the earth spirit mouse he gave to Lu Qingzhu. Qingshan and little Zhuer being seen and taken as disciples by a nascent soul immortal is a good thing. If we have time later, we can take Huan with us and go to Yu country's Jinyang sect to visit them. Lu Chongsheng took a deep breath, exhaled gently, and spoke in a soothing voice. This Tianyuan true immortal gave me a token for correspondence, allowing us to travel on a Jinyang Merchant Association's spiritual vessel to Yu country's Jinyang sect. I've asked Shiyu, and she said that every year, there's a spiritual vessel from the Jinyang Merchant Association at Azure Phoenix Immortal City. Lu Miaoge nodded slightly and so explained. Originally, she thought with only her qi refinement cultivation level, it would be very risky and inconvenient to go to Yu country's Jinyang sect to visit her children. Now with Lu Changsheng's breakthrough to foundation establishment in her eyes, it was much more convenient. Yet while speaking, she also thought of the current situation of the Lu family. With the old ancestor Lu Yuanzhong's life drawing to a close, once he passed away, both she and Lu Chongsheng would likely have no time to go to Yu country to visit their children. While speaking, Lu Miaoge led Lu Chongsheng to a mansion. Dad, you're back. Aunt, uncle. Several children were playing in the yard. Seeing Lu Chongsheng and Lu Miaoge, they immediately called out, Qingsong, Xiuer, Changming. Lu Chongsheng looked at the children and nodded with a smile. Aside from his son Lu Qingsong, the others were direct descendants of the Lu family, so he recognized them all. Continue playing, your Aunt Miaoga and I have some matters to discuss, Lu Chongqing said without lingering to chat with the children. Chongqing, you're back. At that moment, Xiao Xia, clad in a moon-white dress, her features cool but her eyes gentle, came out of the hall with her daughter Lu Wangshu. She was very trusting of Lu Chongqing. Thus, even though she missed him, she wasn't as emotionally stirred as Lu Miaoga upon seeing him return. Shi Yu. Lu Chongqing, seeing Xiao Xia, thought to himself that she must have indeed been with Lu Miaoga. Normally, Xiao Xia would certainly not be so intimate with Lu Miaoga, spending a long period together. However, with the bond of their daughter Lu Wangshu as a bridge, they naturally became much closer. As soon as I was done with everything, I came right over, Lu Chongqing said with a smile, advancing to visit his daughter. But after more than a year, his daughter Lu Wangshu no longer remembered him. After all, Lu Wangshu was only a little over a year old at the time. It's normal for children of that age to forget after not seeing someone for more than a year. After a brief chat, Xiao Xia expressed that she had something to take care of and took her leave. Lu Chongqing knew that Xiao Xia was giving space to him and Lu Miaoga. Otherwise, why would she deal with matters while still holding her daughter Lu Wangshu? He didn't say much, just conveyed that he would find her later. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. In the room, Lu Chongqing expressed his love to Lu Miaoga. Lu Miaoga also poured out her heart's longing. A series of fervent encounters followed, one after another. The passion and intimacy involved are indescribable to outsiders. Afterwards, Lu Miaoga lay languidly in Lu Changsheng's arms, her eyes brimming with tender affection as she quietly watched him, her beautiful face always wreathed in smiles. Still thinking about foundation establishment? How come I feel like you're happier about my breakthrough to foundation establishment than if you had done it yourself?